Your morning just got more interesting. Distilled and barrel-picked for your listening pleasure. Bo Bishop, a local sports media legend. What William T. Sherman was to the Union Army, he is to Northern College football. A husband, a father, and middling youth sports coach. He's friends with Central Ohio sporting royalty.
I'm talking to Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjorken. Coach Day walking on with us right now. Good to see you, buddy. Good buddy Austin Ward. My good buddy Tim May, the Tim May Show. The great Doug Lavery's joining us.
Hi, everybody. Dom Tiberi here.
Reese came in and he handed me papers.
Yeah,
and then he said, "You see that button? That's the only button you need to worry about. Don't touch. There's 8,000 buttons in front of me." Oh, I didn't know what he was talking about.
The one that says on.
We blew the budget on this imaging, and only two guys answered our ad on Craigslist. Ryan Baker and Eric Reeser. Act accordingly. You're now listening to Bishop and Friends.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years.
Trotter will be joining us on the program. Bo and the boys for the next three. Are we glasses half full today on a first Friday or glasses half empty?
Let's go full.
Okay.
Our cup runneth close to over.
Yeah. Still warm. Going to get a little colder coming up, but still warm for today. So I'm with you. Glasses half full. It's a hell of a win. It's a hell of a win. It just is. It's a great win. It's a win that it's one of those things that if it's a loss in regulation, the way that you had that lead with a couple of minutes to go, if it's a loss, it's season ending, I think. I don't think you recover from it, not just from a bracketology standpoint, but just mentally. To blow a game like that at home would have been absolutely devastating. To handle it the way they did in the first overtime, to get to the second overtime, to withstand a 43-point performance out of Bryce Williams, all of those things, to survive and advance, to score 116, to have four guys score over 20. I heard Shark this morning on Juice talking, he cannot recall, and if he can't recall, I just assume it didn't happen. We have to get Jack Park on the phone. Like the idea that four guys on one team at Ohio State scored over 20. They all played over 40 minutes. I mean, it was just such a remarkable result and a means to that end. And it keeps them head above water in the postseason. It keeps them firmly on the bubble. It is a game that perhaps during the Holtman era, maybe they cave. We saw them lose a game sort of similar to this against Indiana last year that they had to have. And Jake has talked about this consistently, just the fight that the operation has, right? And they had it. They had the fight, and they had to give a damn, and it would have been, I think, disastrous had it been a loss, but I think it's a monumental win for them, and it puts them in a pretty good spot when it comes to the bracketology. It makes the game Sunday at Indiana not a must-win. You'd want to win it, but I don't think it's a must-win. If you lost this one, not only would I think of Indiana have been a must-win, I think it would have been a not likely win, because I think you would have probably been something that would have broken this team. So for all of those reasons, our cup runneth over, Reese.
Yeah, I fell asleep. Maybe it was.
Well, we'll get to that.
Well, I guess I'll kind of explain where my night was at with this. That I thought they're blowing this as Nebraska's making that comeback as it kind of ticks down 4 minutes, 3 minutes, and then into the 2 minutes. I go, this team, we're doing this again, huh?
Yeah.
Like you had a tremendous offensive performance. Defensively, you struggled the entire evening. And I thought, please not on senior night. Don't go out like this, because this loss, I thought would have been it. This almost 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, then you're booking your tickets to the college basketball crown in Las Vegas. Because Fox would have absolutely chosen the basketball Buckeyes for this because, well, it's the Ohio State brand, and you want that in Vegas any time of the year, but late March, early April if you can get it. The fact that they were able to gut it out in not one but two overtimes against the Nebraska team that I was like, are they going to miss? Was enough for me to think if they can make a run in the Big Ten tournament, a 1-2 gamer, maybe there's a chance they can be better than one and done in March. Maybe there's a chance if you get that kind of effort from Aaron Bradshaw, if you can get the shots to fall for everybody. A lot of things have to come together almost in the perfect moment. But there's hope now that you can build off of instead of hanging your head and be like, well, this will suck.
And we've seen games like that one this year where, unfortunately, they've lost.
And you can nitpick a lot of things in this game if you want to, but the fact of the matter is they got the W. They didn't give up. They kept fighting, and they hit enough shots to win this game. And it was really a great night for them because you have two teams around you fighting to get into the NCAA tournament. One of them you beat last night in Nebraska. The other, Indiana, they lost to Oregon. So it was a really good night for this Buckeye basketball team as far as trying to help their chances of getting in this NCAA tournament. Maybe Saturday isn't a must-win, but, man, it'd sure be nice to go out and complete the year on a high note.
It would be. I think they've been through a lot. We talked about this with Adam yesterday on the show about everything that this is not the team that Jake thought he would have, and they've persevered, and they've gotten to a point now where it looks like that they will be. I mean, they're still going to be right on the bubble, but it looks like they'll be more trending bubble in versus bubble out. The reason that is so important to me that they make the tournament is the glass is half empty part of this conversation. So, did you see the attendance last night? This is senior day.
I didn't see it, but like you knew.
It's senior day.
Was it 10,000 they said?
Whatever they listed it at, it wasn't. Now, those that were there were loud, and they were loud when they needed to be, but it's basically become a bottom section of the shot situation at best is where you're at now. And the reality is that the glass is half empty part of this is there's a million factors to it. You could do an hour on this, honestly. Like, how did it get here? Right? And there's the on-court stuff that leads to that attendance last night over the course of a decade. There's the fact that it's a 9:00 game on Peacock at midnight that ends near midnight on a Tuesday night. That's part of it for sure. There's a bunch of factors that lead to it. But the reality is, and this is something that Jake has to dig out of, and it's something that Ross Bjork has to oversee the digging out of, is that Buckeye basketball, this is a big picture conversation, Buckeye basketball over the last decade it's on life support in terms of what it used to be. And there isn't something as simple as play a senior day game against Nebraska and they'll all come out, because they won't. They won't all come out. And it might be 9:00 that has some of it. Sure, yeah. But it's also the fact that the program has not reached the second weekend of the NCAA tournament in over a decade. That's part of it too, and has not had the. You'd have to have been there to believe it, but if it's what is the line that Tony Soprano says when he's with Paulie Walnuts? They're having lunch. They're having dinner down in Miami, and the Sopranos, and he's annoyed by it. Paulie keeps talking about the good old days, and he says nostalgia is the lowest form of the lowest form of conversation. There's kind of that too when it comes to this, like. The nostalgia of what the golden era of the Thad run was is so far gone now. It's so far gone, guys. And digging out of it is just a much bigger task than I think I even thought it was. And I don't know. The other thing about it is I don't know how you do it now. In the old days, you could land it. You could do it with, like, if you landed 2 great recruiting classes consecutively. That were like, and you had to hit on all of them, and you had to, and then they start to stack. I mean, that's what Thad did with the Thad 5, and then all the way through Sullinger and Kraft and Thomas, and eventually ending with D'Angelo Russell, although they didn't have the success as a team with D'Angelo. He's kind of the last one of those guys. But they consistently recruited top 10 classes, and then they developed, right? They developed guys. And then that's how you get buy-in, and that's how you program. But I think we all maybe thought that this would be an easier dig out than it is. But when you start talking about a decade of not being at the top of the sport or near the top of the sport, forget top of the sport, being in the mix in the Big Ten, there's a toll for that. And I think you saw the toll. Now, those of you that were there were loud. You could tell. You could see that impacted the game. But there weren't enough. And there's a billion factors. 9:00 is absolutely part of it, but it's also kind of the malaise that hit the program for really a decade. The end of Thad, Holtman unable to take advantage of the early momentum he had with Wesson and E.J. Liddell and all of those guys, and then what Jake is trying to dig out of now. I mean, on a senior day, to have the whole upper bowl largely empty is crazy. It's crazy. Now, those of you who were there and were loud were awesome, and you put on a show in a must-win, had to have it. So you're rewarded. So that's why I think all of this matters so much. It's wins like that can propel to an NCAA tournament that can start to get the buy-in back. But you have to have the success in March, and you have to stack it year in and year out. It's a tough thing, and it's a much bigger hole than I thought. But the positive is you got the win last night, and now you have yourself as bubble in, and now maybe you can start to build off of that. But it's going to take a lot longer than I think any of us thought to begin with. We're off and running on a First Friday edition, Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
It's a different world today than it was 30 years ago when I started Care Heating and Cooling. This is Mike Weens, now the retired founder of Care Heating and Cooling with my sons, Dennis and Ryan.
Dad, 30 years ago, you were the first to warn of companies using service technicians as salespeople, of abusing the trust that a service technician has. With the big conglomerates now buying companies all over Central Ohio, this has become the normal business model.
It's all about greed. The conglomerates know they can make a lot more money by incentivizing their technicians to sell furnaces instead of fixing them. They train their techs to take advantage of a customer when they are the most vulnerable.
Dad, that is not how we were taught. In 2024, Care Heating and Cooling was awarded a BBB Torch Award for ethics and was named the Lennox Partner of the Year. You don't earn those awards by leaving cat toys behind.
Call Care Heating and Cooling at 1-800-COOLING or schedule an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com. When you need a company you can trust.
A pepperoni pizza for the table.
Thank you.
May I suggest trying it with our Pepsi Zero Sugar? It has just the right amount of sweetness to complement all that cheesy, saucy goodness, while the carbonation and notes of citrus enhance the flavor profile. Simply divine.
Pepsi Zero Sugar? You've really outdone yourself this time. Pizza deserves Pepsi.
Get ready and gear up for the Open Season Sportsman's Expo, presented by Progressive and Can-Am. Join us at the Ohio Expo Center from March 14 to 16. You'll find hunting products and top-notch gear at show-only prices. Showcase your buck in the Trophy Deer Contest and learn from industry experts. Even trick shooting with Byron Ferguson. Discount tickets at OpenSeasonSportsman'sExpo.com through March 13. Be sure to check out Tacticam and Toyota Tundra, official cell cam and truck of the Expo.
Open a money market account at Kemba Financial Credit Union and enjoy 4.40% APY intro rate until 2026. That's 6 times the national average. Get the flexibility you need with easy access to your funds. Don't miss out. Offer expires April 30th, 2025. Visit Kemba.org. Restrictions apply. Advantage status and $5,000 minimum and $1 million maximum deposit required. APY equals annual percentage yield. Comparison based on FDIC average. Federally insured by NCUA.
There's nothing like having Common Man and T-Bone resting on your bosom.
Oh, for someone with no breasts, you've done very well for yourself.
Gross. Pick up the latest T-shirt in the Fan store or pick up merch from a show you actually like. We even have Ohio State and jacket stuff. Head to 971thefan.com.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you if you could simply take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, rental portfolios. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We are tracking showers out there today. It is mild with temperatures near 60 degrees. Heading into the afternoon, winds could gust as high as 35 to 40 miles per hour. Falling temperatures expected by sundown with a transition to a few snow showers as we get closer to midnight. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
If the sound of another man slammed against plexiglass turns you on, you've come to the right place. Proud to be your home for Jackets hockey. The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Find us on YouTube. Search WBNS Radio and you can see what Bo looks like. But only if you subscribe. This is Bishop and Friends.
This, the box score from last night is unlike anything I've ever seen at Ohio State. I mean, you're talking about Royal, Thornton, Mobley, Parrish, all played over 40 minutes. 48 for Thornton, 46 Parrish, 44 Mobley, 43 Royal. Stewart played 18, and then Bradshaw played the 22. Mahafey's the only other one who played double digits. And then you take on top of that the fact that you're talking 4 guys scored over 20. It took all of them, by the way, to do it because of what was happening on the other side with Bryce Williams. But it's a box score I've never seen. Never seen anything like it.
Today, are they all hooked up to a chair with fluids?
Yeah.
Like at this point, you're not even worried about practicing today.
No.
Probably travel to Bloomington Friday. Like it's
Sunday game. I would think Saturday. Probably. Do they fly there? Does Hoops fly
to Bloomington?
I
don't know. Does it build character to have to take the Indiana roads on a Friday night, Saturday morning?
I don't know what. Well, no, it does not. You can get some fudge in Uranus, though. That you can do there.
They don't need that right now.
Yeah. That's right at the state line for the uninitiated.
They just came off of having the flu. We don't need fudge.
No. I don't know. I think they probably. I wonder what they take buses to anymore from a basketball side of things. They might bus to Indiana, maybe. Not sure. Matty Andrews would know. See if he's poking around out there. He might be able to get an answer to that. But it was a must-win for them to be able to do it, especially the way I just think it would have been such a crippling one to lose. Here's Jake postgame on winning a close one down the road.
Add this to the list of one-possession games that we've seen this year. Going through those so many times has given us a confidence, a collective confidence, that where guys can look at each other and we can lock eyes in the huddle and just know we've been here before and we've been successful in these moments, particularly lately. So I think that all played a factor.
I don't know if Jake was confident at the end of regulation as that thing was whittling down and Williams is standing at the free throw line with a chance to put him up 1 and you go, geez. But they did. They got it done. Certainly the first over, they blew it at the end of regulation, and then in the first overtime, they had to rally back. Here's Jake on that.
That segment was a great representation of what this program is about. I want guys to be aggressive. I don't want us to flinch. I don't want us to play safe. This group has bought into that, especially here the last, couple months. The way we did it was just a fight together, which probably makes me even most proud is, we had 4 guys score over 20 points, and it took everybody. So I thought that moment was critical, that segment.
What do you think is the percentage of our listeners who made it all? Because I did not make it all the way through.
30.
Get there. That made it to midnight?
That made it all the way through both overtimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put it on the poll. Let's put it on the poll. Did you see all of the Ohio State basketball game last night?
I was probably thinking somewhere in that range, too, 25, 30. I'm actually one that did. I stayed up and saw it all.
You made it.
I made it to the end. And I'll tell you what, he talked about being aggressive. Devin Royal got that message, and he must have just been confident that whoever was guarding him couldn't, because Devin Royal got the ball. He put his head down like a fullback and went straight to the basket every time at the end of that game. And it was pretty impressive to see the confidence and from him in that moment. just saying, I'm getting to the basket and nobody's stopping me.
That's pick central Devin Royal.
That's right.
That's what that is. That's what he did there. Where he went 10 of 14 from the line in this one, had 8 boards as well, and you need this from him. That's the thing in terms of this not being the roster they thought they were going to have at the beginning of the year. Like, Devin Royal needs to be an 18-point guy. Junie Mobley needs to be a 20-point. Like, that, we can't have them not have big games if this team's going to have success, and that's not something that they intended.
What else I thought they needed last night, Bo, and I know he fouled out and wasn't there for the overtimes, I thought Sean Stewart gave them maybe the best game he has all year. I thought Sean Stewart was a difference maker and really played well last night, and we've been waiting for it all year.
Well, dude, he did. I mean, he's 5 of 5 from the field, 7 boards, 13 points. He had 5 fouls. He's active. Kind of everything that you need and want it to be. So, yeah, they're in a very good spot now. But big picture, and I think that's the thing that was why it was such a glass half empty, glass half full thing from last night. Because in this moment, these are such critical games they're playing. But honestly, guys, it feels so much bigger than that because of what you're seeing in terms of the lack of interest. So they're fighting a war on 2 fronts here. And winning is kind of the only cure, I think. I think it's the only antidote is to just win games and get some interest back in the program because that's what the Blue Jackets have done as we transition to them. They were bombed in Tampa last night. Mears warned us of this when he was with us on Monday, that the fatigue of an outdoor game, like coming off of that high, hits you right in the mouth, and it did with the Jackets last night. Lightning get too quick to start the game, and it's just, I don't care if you are playing for the Stanley Cup or you were playing little guy hockey. If you get down 2-0, it's a tough slog to dig out of. And they just ended up having to chase the game. I thought there was a chance. Zach was unbelievable, but I thought that there was a chance that they could maybe get it back to level. That big, when it was 5-1, then they take the goal off, and then you get it right back on the other side with the Zach goal, Shorty. You thought, boy, maybe they could get a little momentum. But when you dig that hole, you're just chasing the whole way. And that's what they were last night.
Last night, Bo, and Tampa's been playing so well. And I know they haven't been there at the end the past couple of years, but Tampa is still one of the standard bearers to me in the NHL.
Yeah.
In the fact that they still have Vasilevsky, who's one of the best in the world. They have Kucherov, who's amazing. Braden Point, Victor Hedman. They've still got some top-end guys there. And the Jackets were coming off of that outdoor hangover. I get it. But last night, to me, as good as this Jackets season has been, it shows they're just not quite there yet, especially without Monahan out of the lineup and especially with Cole out of the lineup. And this is the reason to me, Bo, why if you can get a first-round pick and more for Provorov, you have to move him.
Yeah.
Because you're just not quite there yet this season. And if you're not going to get that contract signed, if you're way far apart, it's just, I don't think they're winning the cup this year, but maybe they will in a year or 2 or 3. So that's asset management, I think, and you've got to get what you can for him.
That's also a read the room situation for Waddell. So he's got to see how that impacts the room. Like, if that's the case and they move him, which would be the thing to do, then how does that affect those who remain? And do they take kindly to that, right? I mean, that's the part of it that's a little bit tricky. Look, we said 4 points on this road trip. So they get Florida on Thursday, and then it's Rangers and I believe Devils. So it's all still there for them, but it was kind of predictive what happened last night, Reese.
Yeah, and the Red Wings also had a bit of a slumper. They were asleep until the third period they scored a goal in the third period, so I don't know if they ever really woke up in that game against Carolina, but the Red Wings and the Lightning, those are the standards in the Eastern Conference, the standards in the NHL. And for the Blue Jackets and for the Red Wings, it's your goal is to attain what they've already achieved. Yeah. And that's not just going to happen this season. Like, we're right now sitting here going, just maintain the first wild card spot, because the Rangers are now the team in that second spot after Detroit's loss last night. And so you have the Rangers in the third of this 4-game road trip. And you've also got the Devils, who you're looking up at as the Blue Jackets. It just right now maintain, because this is going to, I think, you saw, Werenski and, Elvis was standing on his head last night. Like, I could see this slump continuing into Thursday, because guess what? The Panthers are just as good, if not better, than the Lightning.
Well, you're talking. You're at 61 played. You got 21 to go. Point a game puts you at 89. So is that enough? That's kind of what I think. It's that if you set the over-under at wild card at 90 points, to me it feels you better be at 91 to feel good about it. What'd you have yesterday, Bake? You said like 93 has kind of been the number in terms of the points you need to get to.
Yeah, the past couple of years it's been about 93, 94, somewhere in there.
But everyone's on a lower pace this year, so to me, where this logjam is in this with all of these teams in the mix, and my God, you're talking about you're only 3 points clear of Montreal. So you got 5 teams between 65 and 68. So I think that if you can get to 90, if you can play a point a game pace the rest of the way, that might do it. So I think if you're 89.5, 90, somewhere in there might get you in.
And the Tampa and Florida games, they're all important, right, Bo?
Yeah.
But these two coming up with the Rangers who are right behind you and the Devils who are just ahead of you, those were the 2 important ones for me on this road trip the whole time.
And you mentioned, Waddell reading the room in regards to the trade deadline. They inked Matthew Olivier to a 6-year, $18 million extension just this morning. So you're retaining pieces that you've got to keep if you want to keep this core or if you want to keep this group. Olivier is at 28. It's probably the old man in the room, or at least one of the old men in the room. But maintaining everything what you have is so important. But come Friday, I still think they're in such a great spot in whatever they decide to do.
Yeah. It's better to be where they are than where we thought they would be. I think he thought for sure he'd be selling. They're not going to be selling. But in what type of acquisition can they do? And then the Provorov thing will be something that they're going to have to sort out as the week goes along. All right, we're going to get smarter. Sam Monson was at the NFL Scouting Combine all week long. We'll take a look at what he thinks of this year's quarterback class, which Buckeyes impressed the most. That's coming up in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Spring is finally here, and so are spring projects. So get them started at Harbor Freight's parking lot sale. This weekend, save on products like pressure washers for $69.99, 42-inch roller cabinets for under $500, plus 30% off Hercules corded power tools. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight. Valid until 3/9/25 while supplies last. Limitations apply, so spring in before it's over.
Empower. Tim collects bobbleheads. A lot of bobbleheads. Baseball bobbleheads. Race car bobbleheads. Little chihuahua bobbleheads. He's got an entire room strictly for bobbleheads. Does he need them? No. Is his wife mad about it? A little. But Tim works with Empower, and he got good at money, so he can be a little bad. Ooh, horse bobblehead. Classy, Tim. Empower. Invest well, live a little. Start today at empower.com.
Hey, it's Anthony from my friends at Germain Honda of Dublin. If you're searching for a Honda lease deal here in Central Ohio, I know you've come to the right place. Leasing allows you to enjoy that flexibility in one of their fantastic, sharp, reliable vehicles. I'm so confident that Rich and his team can tailor a lease deal that's right for you. Like a 2025 CRV LX all-wheel drive, $349 a month for 36 months, 30,000 miles with only $19.99 down. Germain Honda of Dublin, Sawmill Road, just south of 270.
That's are us. When dreams sunk in, that's are us.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 380-225-BATH.
That's are us. When dreams sunk in, that's are us.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
What's up?
What's up, man? What's up with you?
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 3 restaurant locations, Grandview, Gahanna, and now in Westerville. Drink local. Drink High Bank.
All right, here's what's up. Let's get smarter, kids. Sam Monson, Check the Mic podcast. Steve Palazzolo on the 33rd team. Sam, thank you so much for taking the time. One thing that I always look forward to, and you were over in Indianapolis as well over at the NFL Scouting Combine, is there's a bunch of different thoughts that are going into it, and then by the end of the combine, you start to get consensus and storyline that builds. Was there anything that you kind of had a feeling on leading into the combine that your opinion changed on by the time you left?
Not really changed. It is interesting though finding out kind of where everybody else seems to be on certain players or certain topics. One of them I think was going in. I didn't know that the consensus appeared to be that Travis Hunter was not just a kind of top unique two-way type of prospect, but most people I think have him as both the best wide receiver in this draft and the best cornerback in this draft. And the receiver part, I think especially, was a little bit surprising to me. And then the other kind of consensus that appeared to be building is Cam Ward is the clear top quarterback in this draft for most people, and the gap between him and Shedeur Sanders appears to be significant. It's not sort of 1 and 1A. It's Cam Ward is number one, and then there's a debate as to how high Sanders should go.
Where do you think he should go?
I'm in the camp that thinks that the gap is closer than other people do. Sanders doesn't have the physical tools that Cam Ward does. It's kind of interesting, actually, for a child of Deion Sanders. He doesn't have the spectacular athleticism. That isn't his game. His game is more of the mental processing and the ability to sort of layer throws and touch passes and that kind of thing. And actually, I'm not necessarily comparing them as prospects, but there's more. His game is more like Joe Burrow as a prospect to some of these other guys. And Burrow, when he was coming out, even though he was a clear-cut number one overall prospect, people were complaining about his arm, and asking, does he have the arm strength to play at that level in the NFL? And obviously the answer is yes right now. But that's where we are with Sanders. We're looking at him and saying, does he have the arm to play at this level? Whereas I think realistically the question should be, I think his arm's fine. It's not Josh Allen, but so is neither is most quarterbacks. It's good. It's perfectly serviceable for the NFL. His questions are more, look, that pass protection in Colorado was atrocious. His behavior under pressure wasn't great a lot of the time. But what we don't know the answer to is, well, what happens to his play under pressure if we change the dynamic and we give him a pretty decent offensive line in front of him? That's the projection that I think every NFL team has got to try and figure out for Sanders. And that's not an easy question to answer. It's not necessarily just a one-to-one, let's just watch his play from a clean pocket. It's a difficult projection to figure out how much changing those sliders adjusts his play.
That's why it's so difficult. I mean, it is so difficult to break down these guys and to be sure about anything from the standpoint of what you just said about Shedeur and the offensive line. I mean, just one of the worst, just absolutely porous. They were, I would say, at best disinterested in attempting to run the ball. And conversely, Cam Ward, there's a nonchalance that he played the position with. And waiting, and oftentimes not taking easy stuff, waiting for something big to develop, and sometimes it would happen. When you are analyzing quarterbacks, Sam, what is the first thing you look for in terms of this is something that I need to see how you play in these circumstances?
Yeah, it's funny. This is why it's always going to be, I mean, I don't want to say a crapshoot, but it's always, the strike rate is always going to be hit or miss, because it's always the unknowns where there is simply no way of projecting reliably what that does when you change these sort of important confounding factors to a guy's play. So the Sanders thing you can see almost in reverse if you go back to Baker Mayfield when he was coming out. Baker Mayfield's play under pressure in college at Oklahoma was actually incredibly good, but he barely ever faced pressure. So we made the mistake, I think, at that time when we were projecting out Baker Mayfield, saying, look, this guy's fantastic from a clean pocket. He's fantastic under pressure. He was basically this sort of flawless prospect at the time, other than being relatively short, which was less of a problem given his arm and all those kinds of things. But what we didn't consider is, well, what happens if you change the volume of plays where he's under pressure and you ramp that up and you give him a rough offensive line or a rough pass protection in front of him? Does that change his play under pressure? And the answer was yes, significantly. And when he was with the Browns and you saw Greg Robinson as his left tackle, and suddenly every single play he's thinking about getting pressured, even if he's not getting pressured, and suddenly his play under pressure fell apart. That's the problem, is there's no way of really reliably projecting what that's going to do. So, I think when you're scouting quarterbacks, you look for the usual things. You look for just does this guy have NFL caliber traits, both from an arm strength perspective and athleticism perspective, the ability to read through a defense, the basic accuracy and sort of some variety on his throws. Can he, layer the ball into tight areas when he needs to? All those kinds of things. And the rest of it is where the artwork comes in, and a lot of guesswork, honestly. We have all the data. We have all these various different information points, but those sort of unknown questions are where it gets tricky because, everyone looked at the guys last year, say, you could see that all of those guys had NFL caliber tools. Yeah. It's all of the unknowns that makes it, that is the difference between ranking those guys, number one in the draft. And people had Michael Penix Jr., Bo Nix as top of the second round type quarterbacks. And obviously they end up going much higher than that. But that sort of full round swing in opinion is all built off those unknown, intangible little bits that are difficult to project.
It's like the hardest thing in sports, man. It really is.
It really is.
It's so brutal because it's hard to the process, even if it's perfect. It's the analogy, the story you just told about Baker. That's why it's so hard to get this thing right. To that end, if the Browns stay at 2 and the Giants come up to 1 and take Cam Ward, and let's say that happens, I guess let's do it both ways. If you're the Browns, would you hesitate at all if either one of these guys are there at 2?
No, I think if you're the Browns, you take a quarterback. It doesn't matter. It matters which one. Obviously, you would want your number one guy. But for them, having number 2 overall this year is a gift that they probably shouldn't have. They have made effectively one of the worst personnel mistakes in the history of the sport in Deshaun Watson when you factor it all in, the trade, the contract, all these things, and the fact that he's now injured twice with an Achilles injury. Even before being injured the second time, even before being injured, rather, it didn't look like they were going to be able to keep him as the starter. His play was that bad. That's the type of move that should cripple a franchise and get everybody fired. And the reason it hasn't is because they've been thrown a life raft with the number 2 overall pick, and they might be able to get out from it by drafting a quarterback. That's one of the only ways, effectively, that you can get away from that contract or still carry that contract but not have it drag the entire team down is if you find a quarterback capable of giving you good starting play on a vastly cheaper contract. And that's the opportunity they have picking number 2 overall. So, yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a difference in how they grade those 2 quarterbacks, and you would want to get the guy that you grade as the best. But I think the opportunity to fix the situation they're in is almost more important than the guy that they're getting.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think it's a life raft, absolutely. I wanted to ask you about Will Howard. You talk to whether it's NFL folks over there or evaluators, guys such as yourself who watch all the tape, and you say, well, most guys say, look, the tape is 80-90% of what we do, and the combine, actually what they do at the combine isn't. But he obviously had a rough day throwing the football over the weekend. My hunch is that he heard a lot of the chatter about his inability to drive the ball, and my hunch is that he gripped it a little too tight and was trying to prove how hard he threw it. And in the meantime, he wasn't accurate. We know that he was accurate because he was in the playoff, and I think if you take the screen game out of it, he was the most accurate quarterback in college football last year. What do you make of him, and how much damage for him was done over the weekend with the throwing session, and can he get it back?
Yeah, I don't think those things are necessarily massively damaging. I think if you have, an atrocious throwing performance where it shows something fundamentally problematic with your game, then I think there's a concern. But if you just have a sort of routine bad workout, a routine bad throwing session, I don't think it's necessarily a massive issue, particularly when you say, there's other tape, there's other evidence that show this is not necessarily a massive problem. There are definitely quarterbacks where they're inaccurate in college, they show up to the combine, they're still inaccurate in the combine, and this is just, it's the same thing. It's like, a fast guy runs a fast 40. This is not a new data point. This is just confirming what we already thought. For Howard, I don't think that's necessarily what we're dealing with. He's not somebody that was wildly inaccurate in college that showed up and was wildly inaccurate at the combine. I think you're right. He just had a bad throwing day, and it certainly didn't help his stock, but I don't think it necessarily wildly damaged it. I just think we're dealing with, that's the world of this sort of quarterback draft when you get beyond those first two guys is all of these guys are inconsistent, or there's something, that doesn't blow you away about them. And that, I think, that's the second tier of this group.
I'll get you out of here on this one. You can have, just as a weapon, forget about positional importance. Which weapon do you think works best in the NFL? Travion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins, Emeka Egbuka?
I think Travion Henderson has the kind of burst and explosiveness that I think is becoming extremely coveted in the NFL right now. Saquon Barkley is one of one, right? It's not a comparison to him, the player, but watch what he was doing last season in a good situation. If you have a good situation and you can get a running back that has explosive ability to the second level and into space, they can do the rest, and they can turn that into a touchdown in a heartbeat. And obviously Saquon was better than anybody else in the NFL at that last year, but Henderson has that home run ability. And if you already have a good situation, if you already have a good offense with a good running game, and you can get that guy into space on a regular basis, he can turbocharge that threat and create touchdowns out of nothing. So that's the guy I think that I would be looking for if the situation I had was good enough to put him into it.
You're the best, buddy. Thanks for your time, Sam. Greatly appreciate it.
Anytime. Take it easy.
All right, there he goes, Sam Monson. Check the Mic podcast. Steve Palazzolo on the 33rd team, joining on the Brian Heating Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. I think you could probably start printing the T-shirts, Reese. You better get used to being a favorite. We'll get into it coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We're the highest rated sports radio station in America. There's no joke there. We just are. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Home values in Columbus are sky high, and you have a ton of equity. Your financial advisor thinks the market has peaked. So if you're thinking about selling, it's time. Except for two things. High interest rates will burn you on a new home loan, and you're not ready to move. Savvy financial advisors suggest Truehold's new Sell and Stay program. It's ingenious because they buy your home now while its value is high, but you can stay in your home as long as you want with an easy, affordable lease. Smart, right? Truehold will make you a solid cash offer, not a lowball offer like the others. It's based on your home's current value. The cash is yours to travel, pay off bills, or secure your retirement. And again, you can stay in your home with a comfortable lease. Truehold covers property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. See how much Truehold will pay for your home today. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out your home's value without moving. That's Truehold.com.
Ever wonder where your go-to maintenance person gets the metal products they need to fix yours and everyone else's problems? The best in the business go to Metal Supermarkets for their wide variety of metal products and shapes to tackle projects from simple to complex. Metal Supermarkets is your source for all metals cut to size and ready fast. No minimum order with maximum service. Visit the family-owned franchise on North Wilson Road or at Columbus at metalsupermarkets.com.
Get Eco.
Hey, Aaron. Hey, Jerry. As much as I enjoy being a professional inventor, a few of my dream inventions still elude me.
Oh, yeah? Like what?
Well, the bruiseless avocado.
Ooh.
The unlosable TV remote.
Could change the world.
And for you, Aaron, the uncloggable drain.
Get Eco.
Until you crack it, Jerry. Our 93 are free drain clearing offer is the next best thing.
Okay. Explain yourself.
Get Eco.
Our drain team will clear your drain for just $93. If we can't clear it, it's free. And we guarantee it'll stay clear for at least a year, or we will clear it again for free.
Get Eco.
We'll even send our little robot camera down there to make sure you don't have a larger problem that could cause more trouble in the future.
Get Eco.
You think your guys could bring that robot over to my place and help me find that TV remote?
I think that's impossible even for us.
Get Eco.
Eco, plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians.
GetEco.com.
Come into your local AAA Car Care Plus and save $40 on any repair of $150 or more. Only at AAA Car Care Plus locations. And on the plus side, AAA members save more. Offer valid through March 31st. See store for details.
This is a Craver service announcement. Stop what you're doing and get 10 cheese sliders for a new low price of just $7.99. Your choice of melty American, spicy jalapeno, or cheddar cheese. Only $7.99 for 10 cheese sliders. White Castle. Follow your crave.
Remember how that little girl in Poltergeist was in the TV?
They're here.
Yeah? Well, she's actually dead now. It's quite sad. Anyway, watch your favorite fan shows on your TV by subscribing to us on YouTube. Search 971 The Fan. Do it now.
Something amazing is happening in data management. Even though storage needs are constantly changing, companies are only paying for what they need now. That's because CDW customized a Pure Storage Evergreen One SLA-driven storage as a service solution that delivers enterprise-grade hybrid cloud storage that is effortless, efficient, and evergreen. Simplify storage administration with Pure Storage and CDW. Make amazing happen. Find out more at cdw.com/purestorage.
Relief from hip and back pain can be a reality when you work with the experts on a mobility and flexibility routine. That's why StretchLab was founded. Pro athletes and sports fans alike love StretchLab for our customized one-on-one assisted stretch sessions. Discover the difference a good stretch can make, because when your body moves better, you feel better and live better. Visit your local StretchLab today or go to stretchlab.com and use code FAN10 to get up to 50% off your first 50-minute stretch. Plus, receive an additional $10 off.
Want to know anything about the Fans contest, how to win, or what's up for grabs? Check out 971thefan.com. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
The best hair on the air. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
I think it's in play. Very much in play, that you could get LeBron James in an NBA Finals against the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Easy.
I think it's in play. They've won 51 games. The Lakers, by the way, have won 17 of 19 and won again last night. LeBron went over 50,000 points as his career. That's obviously the all-time record. He passed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for that a couple of years ago and is setting the bar way, way out there. He is a man who is 40 who had 34, 8, and 6 last night. And is still a top 10 player in the league at this point. And you're starting to see, by the way, Luka healthy.
Did you see that old doughboy, what he did?
Yeah, he's not so doughy anymore, if you've seen the pictures. Luka had a plus 37 last night. He had 30, 15, and 8 on 6 of 13. He actually only made 6 of 11 free throws. For a guy that's that good of a shooter, that's stunning. But that on the West Coast, coupled with a team that is now 51-10. And what's crazy about the Cavs is, again, they got behind big. They got behind in this game. And then if you look at what happens in the fourth, they win 139-117. They outscored the Bulls in the fourth quarter 43-23 by 20 in the fourth. On ESPN Bet, who's the favorite right now to win it? Probably still Boston and then OKC. This Cavs team is there. And here's something you have got to think about. They are going to host that Game 7 in the Eastern Conference Final. It's going to be up there. So, as tested as Boston is, can they win in Cleveland in a Game 7?
So you have the Celtics at plus 190, OKC at plus 200, then the Cavs at plus 550.
I like that. Where are the Lakers?
The Lakers are fifth. Well, they're tied for fourth, I guess, with the Nuggets at 13-1.
I will say this. I am confident enough right now. You talked about printing the shirts. For the first time in 6 years, you can print Central Division champion shirts.
You can be more chesty than that. The addition of DeAndre Hunter and the length that it provides, it keeps Okoro out of their final five. They can go big in their final five with Jared Allen, or they can do what they did against Boston last Friday and sit Allen out and go with the other five. They have a guy in Ty Jerome who's about as effective as anybody off the bench in the league. They can play. They're legitimately 9 deep. There's a lot of things you can do. And the Celtics on Friday made it a job of hunting Darius Garland and trying to put him into matchups, and it backfired. It backfired on him. And it backfired in a game earlier this season up in Cleveland where that happened as well. So they should be the team to beat. They're not just because they haven't, and that's the only reason from the betting stance that they're not, but they're 51-10. And they don't really have holes. And with the addition of Hunter, they're long, they're versatile. And the way that Donovan Mitchell has played this year, I mean, he might end up third in the MVP. And he's fearless against Boston. He's fearless. He does not give two blanks about playing Boston. He will go at anybody in a green uniform. But it'll probably be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and then Jokic and then Mitchell in the MVP.
I got to wait to see what happens with – I got to see a series with Porzingis because he's missed both Cavaliers' wins against the Celtics did not have the zinger. And that's the one question for me in a 7-game series. Can they beat Boston when the Celtics are fully healthy? I think so, especially if, as you mentioned, that Game 7 is up in Cleveland because that atmosphere will be like any other. And if, like right now, you ask most NBA fans, who do you want to see in an NBA final? Most of the talk is bleep Boston and bleep Boston forever. Yeah. But a Lakers-Cavaliers LeBron against Donovan Mitchell would do well, I think.
That would be, I mean, it would be a ratings bonanza. I think it would also be a fitting, it would be a fitting end to, it's kind of the only way that Dan Gilbert could have the last laugh. Because it's thawed between Gilbert and the James camp, but it's definitely not warm. I think it's like, I needed you, you needed me, we worked together, here's to you, here's to me, away we go. But it's kind of the only way Dan can win. If his Cavaliers built organically were to beat that Lakers team with LeBron still at the center of it, that's kind of his best chance of getting the last. It wouldn't even be a laugh. It's not really a laugh, but I think his way of kind of evening this whole thing up, in his view, would be that. It's kind of his only way.
Dan Gilbert's ever laughed. Like, if anything, it's maniacally, but it feels like those guys are incapable of that kind of joy, that kind of jubilant emotion. Or emoting in general, really.
He'll never, ever get over the first time. And they needed each other. He needed LeBron far more than LeBron needed him, but LeBron did need a soft landing spot coming out of Miami, and it bothered him greatly that he was not beloved in Northeast Ohio and was viewed as someone who didn't get it done up there, and I think it weighed on him. But let's be really clear. If they didn't have Kyrie Irving, he would not have gone there. He went there because they had Kyrie, and they had just landed the number 1 pick in Andrew Wiggins, who they could trade for Kevin Love, and they went from a team out of the mix to into the mix like that. And so they needed each other. But I think it's more and more likely. I know that there are NBA folks who are all about Oklahoma City and the amount of depth and talent they have, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and all of it. But we just saw Luka beat them last year, and he did not have LeBron James. And now he does.
The Thunder are great. That's something I don't want to be overshadowed by what I'm about to say. That NBA people that think they're smarter than everybody else want that to be the right pick so they can say, y'all just don't know ball like we do. And again, while matchup-wise, the Oklahoma City Thunder provide nightmares for everybody, it's about teams with established success in the playoffs that you should have more faith in this year.
Some breaking news on the NFL front. The Kansas City Chiefs are trading all-pro guard Joe Thuney to the Bears in exchange for a 2026 fourth-round pick. So that is the second offensive lineman the Bears have acquired in the last 2 days. They acquired a tackle yesterday. Now, the one thing with Thuney that's interesting, this is going to would have to include a contract extension. So this is one of those things where you trade him because you don't want to pay him anymore. So that's the situation there. But this is Chicago saying, we are going to protect the kid, and we're going to do what we can to do it. So you acquire an all-pro at guard, and that's a big, big part of it. The NFL, over the next, leading into free agency, and I think legal tampering starts a week from this past Monday. So that's when they can start to have the legal tampering. There's going to be a lot of this stuff. Because here's the other thing to remember on the NFL side of things, guys. This is not a great free agent crop. It's not a good class. So if you're going to acquire talent, it's going to come potentially via trade, and you're going to see teams like what we saw last week with Washington and what we saw just today with Chicago that have rookie quarterbacks under contracts that have money that is locked in. Now is the time to go. So you will see more of that, I think, going forward here, leading up to the league year opening and then free agency opening. Legal tampering again a week from this past Monday. This March is going to define us, not just the Buckeyes, not just on the ice, but on the field as well at the quarterback position. We will get into that coming up next. Second hour, Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
Join Bobby Mack and Jody Shelley for The Inside Edge, a behind-the-scenes look at all things Blue Jackets.
Wednesday night at 7.
Your home for Jackets hockey, The Fan.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Well, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students.
Hey, it's Leslie from Pella Columbus.
I'm Wilson from that other window place.
And today, Pella's excited to announce our 100-year anniversary.
Cut. Leslie, you accidentally said 100 years.
Not an accident, Wilson.
What?
When you do the windows that look the best, you tend to stick around for a while.
I can't compete with that. Buy from her.
Get the windows that have been around for 100 years. The windows that homeowners rated the leading window brand in Columbus at PellaColumbus.com.
They're trained. They're fired up.
Let's do it.
When you need heat, they can't be beat. They're Ohio State's undefeated heating and cooling team. For plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling, there's only one team. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results. Call the Waterworks at 614-232-2222 or visit them online at thewaterworks.com. A proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. Got a car to sell? Germain Toyota of Columbus wants it and will pay you $1,000 over the Kelly Blue Book value. That's right. Germain Toyota Buy Center is making it easier than ever to get top dollar for your ride. No trade-in required, no pressure, just fast, easy cash for your car. Any make, any model, we want it. Stop by Germain Toyota of Columbus today or visit germaintoyota.net to get your free appraisal. Germain Toyota of Columbus on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road.
Are you turning 65? Are you looking for Medicare Advantage coverage? Great news! The Ohio State Health Systems and Mount Carmel Health Systems are in our provider network. Aetna has Medicare Advantage plans that include prescription drug coverage with a $0 monthly plan premium. Plus, the plans include benefits like dental, vision, and hearing. Call Aetna today at 1-888-76-AETNA to learn more. One of our licensed agents will answer your call. Call today, 1-888-76-AETNA. Aetna Medicare is an HMO PPO plan with a Medicare contract. Our D-SNPs also have contracts with state Medicaid programs. Enrollment in our plans depends on contract renewal. Plan features and availability may vary by service area. Participating healthcare providers are independent contractors and are neither agents nor employees of Aetna. The availability of any particular provider cannot be guaranteed, and provider network composition is subject to change. Other physicians, providers are available in our network.
It's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. TNCs apply.
Michelle Smallman here. Do you want to be at the draft in Green Bay, Wisconsin? Travel Wisconsin is sending 10 lucky fans and a guest to the draft. Experience the thrill of the draft firsthand and make memories that will last a lifetime. Don't wait. Enter Travel Wisconsin's Dream Draft Sweepstakes. Visit travelwisconsin.com/draft to learn how you can win a trip to experience the biggest moment of the offseason. Epic moments that become lifelong memories are waiting to be discovered across Wisconsin. Terms and conditions apply.
Vivid Seats is your ultimate destination for basketball and hockey this season. With a game-changing rewards program and an unbeatable selection of tickets, they make it easy for every fan to watch their favorite teams and players in action. Catch every one-timer and buzzer-beating 3 live and in person from your favorite seat. Plus, every ticket is backed by a 100% buyer guarantee, giving you peace of mind with every purchase. Don't miss out. Visit vividseats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars, Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. The Blue Jackets saw their 4-game win streak come to an end last night in Tampa. The Lightning beat the CBJ 6-2. Zach Werenski scored both goals for Columbus. They'll skate at the Florida Panthers on Thursday. Jackets still occupy that first wildcard spot in the East. Earlier today, the team announced they've signed Matthew Olivier to a 6-year deal worth $18 million. That extension for the 28-year-old Olivier has him with 12 goals and 9 assists on the season. Jackets could be buyers at the end of the week as the trade deadline in the NHL is Friday at 3 o'clock. In college hoops, the Buckeyes stayed on the bubble with a 116-114 double overtime win over Nebraska last night at the Shot. Ohio State will wrap the regular season Saturday at Indiana. The Big Ten tournament starts next week in Indianapolis. This update is sponsored by Dr. Mark Levy. If you're snoring and not sleeping, give Dr. Mark Levy's office a call at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or online at sleepbettercolumbus.com.
Bo knows many people. He talks to the interesting ones on this show. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, second hour on a First Friday. Get your Hey Guys questions into the fellas at 971-BFS or on the YouTube chat. You do it there, and we can get those in. The winner's going to get that $50 gift card to our great friends at High Bank Distillery. This could be like a little bit of a Curb Your Enthusiasm scene. I could absolutely see LD doing this. So I've mentioned before, one of my great frustrations is the drop-off of 7th grade NBC at middle school. For the longest time, we could not operate a zipper merge. They couldn't figure that out. I'm always frustrated at the drop-off. So if there's people out there supervising, it's a semicircle. If there's people, if you're on the YouTube chat, a little diagram for you. We'll play a little diagram game. All right, so you have a semicircle. I don't know, can we see that? Okay, I think you can see that on the YouTube chat. So you have a circle drive that's in front of the middle school. So if there are supervisors there, what they do is you come in from here, and then you drop off all the way on the other side of the semicircle. And if you do that, upwards of a dozen cars can unload their kids at once. Okay? So if there's supervisors out there, that's the way that it works. You can drop off a dozen kids at once, and it goes pretty quick if you do it that way. Now, a bell rings at 7:40. And when the bell rings at 7:40, the supervisors go in. Now, you have until, I think, 7:48 to get into school. So as you can imagine, there's still a line all the way down the street of people trying to get in. Now, I'm a man who believes in society and that there are rules. So even if there isn't a supervisor there, I am pull all the way around and make NBC walk back to the door. That's what I do because we live in a society. And what he will say, the thing that we always watch is that will the car ahead of us, in the words of him, clutch up? So what he wants is the opposite of that. He wants the car ahead of us to stop right at the door so he can walk right in the door. That's what he wants. So this is a game we play every day. Every day when I drop him off, he will say, oh, we're going to clutch up, we're going to clutch up. He takes great pride in someone doing what is not a societal norm, in my opinion, what I think is lazy. I take great joy in, if I am the first in the line, I go all the way and make him walk. So that's our thing every day. That's a little battle. Yesterday at drop-off, behind me was one of my good buddies and one of Pade's good buddies, my good buddy's wife and her son. We were in the car that we were in. We were the first one post the 9:40 bell that had the choice to drop off right in front, therefore allowing 5 kids to get out, or do what is right and go all the way so 12 can get out. So I say to him, all right, your buddy's right behind us. Let's see if they follow. He's like, you're not going to do it. I'm like, of course I'm going to do it. So I go all the way, as you should, so that 12 kids can get off. because I'm not selfish. And he's got legs. He can walk a little farther. In one of the most unprecedented moves I've ever seen, I went all the way to the end, and my buddy's wife stopped at the door. So there was a gap of 6 cars between me and her, and so Pate got let off. He had to walk the whole way, huge gap, and then she left off at the door, and then only 4 more kids could get out. Now,
parole in like 10 years, maybe the option in a decade. I don't know.
How do I not say something? Now, my wife starts, you are not saying something.
That's how. You listen to your wife in that instance.
This is going to drive me nuts, though. I'm going to have to passive-aggressively at least, like, have some sort of conversation about it and act like maybe I didn't notice. I mean, we live in a society like that. There are norms and rules. And by the way, it wasn't even like it was cold. It's nice. It's fine. It was a fine day.
Yeah, it's fine enough to where I'm almost wondering why you just didn't have your kids walk all the way from home.
Well, that's a few miles.
Burn some calories.
We're
trying to get your steps in.
Out here in the sticks,
Or ways.
Ways. It's a little bit of a hike for them. I don't know if they can do a 7-mile walk, but yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm going to have to talk to my buddy about this. I feel like that's it. I don't know. At the very least, the next time we're in a social setting, which will probably be this weekend or next, I'm going to have to like bring it up of like, I think what my plan is going to be is to like passive aggressively complain about the line and then say, don't you hate those people that just drop their kids off right in front? As opposed to doing what's right.
While holding eye contact with the guilty party the whole time?
Looking right at her.
No blinking.
She's the sweetest lady ever.
40-yard stare.
This sounds like a heck of a golf course conversation between you and your buddy. Couple pops in.
Yeah.
Back 9.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like the conversation
tells me so much about who. It's kind of like the people who don't return like the carts. It's
the worst.
It's just all of that stuff. Like that drives me nuts. Like when I go when I see the carts out, I'll take them. Like NBC and I went to the grocery store over the weekend. Somebody left a cart out. Guy said, "Go get that. Like put it away. Like what are we doing?" So it's like the cart people. It's like Beam used to have the big issue with the people parking in double spots, like all of that. The one thing I'll say on the double spot parking though is you don't know what happened when they pulled into the spot. So if someone is parked across the line, that sets up a chain of events where everybody's going to be over the line. So you don't know what happened. That's why I don't throw too many stones at those people because I don't know what circumstances that they were in when they parked, if that makes sense. But this is something where it's just laziness.
You can skip that spot and make it a tiny...
You think?
Know, yeah, I mean...
That's your play on that? Skip it?
Yeah, just skip the spot and park your car. Just because one person parked theirs wrong doesn't mean you have to, too.
I mean, you're running in. It's a quick trip. Front row. I'm not as hard on those people as I am on the people who don't return the carts.
The shopping cart's the worst.
It's just laziness, yeah.
Bob Carpenter goes after them as he should.
Yeah. You see that. Speaking of the one place that solves all of that is Costco. My guys at Costco solve all of that because they have huge parking spots, huge with huge buffers, and they have cart return gates damn near every row. Every other row, there's one. Like you don't return a cart at Costco, that's straight to Lucasville. That's be done. I don't ever want to see your face again. They make it as easy as you can possibly make it on the cart return thing. Yeah, it was a stunning turn of events. I don't know what it's good. Knowing me, there's no question it's going to be passive aggressive, and it'll be in some sort of a social setting that I will bring it up, and just the absolute laziness of all of it. We are going to have a lot of questions answered over the course of the next month. We talked off the top of the show about the Buckeyes on the bubble in right now for the Buckeye basketball team. But we talked big picture for them, how critical it would be to make the NCAA tournament and how that is something that I think matters a lot when you look at the attendance last night and you think about the little bit of more than a little, just how big of a hole the program has been put into over the last decade. We're going to know if the Blue Jackets are a playoff team a month from now. Are they still in the mix? We are going to know or have a pretty good read on what's happening at quarterback at Ohio State. We're going to be a couple of weeks into practice at that point. We're going to have a pretty good read. Can Kevin McGuff and the women's basketball team bust down that last door and get to a Final Four? Those questions are going to be answered over the next 3 or 4 weeks. They're all really critical questions for the teams that we talk about the most. If you have to say which one is this month most important to, my leaning would be that it would be the Buckeye basketball on the men's side. I think McGuff's got incredible program momentum. They're not going anywhere. Cambridge is a stud. She's first team all Big Ten. McMahon's a stud, first team all Big Ten. Like, they're good to go. The Blue Jackets, this is all gravy. You want to eat the gravy, so you want to continue to have fun with this. But they've already accomplished what we set out for them to accomplish this year. They don't want to punt on it, and they won't. That's just not how they're built. But if they somehow fall short, I still think this season will be viewed as a wild success for them. The Julian Sayin question, the quarterback question at Ohio State, is one that I don't think we're going to have an answer to by the end of the month because I don't think Ryan Day wants it that way. Every time he's in a quarterback competition, it is carried over into fall camp. So it comes back to, on the basketball side of things, what type of elixir would even a win in March Madness provide? If they were to win the first round and get to a round of 32 game, God forbid they Cinderella story it and get to a Sweet 16. I think it's the highest upside of the questions that need to be answered. Which one of the teams we talk about most needs this month the most? And which one of those answers are we most curious about? We'll get into that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Winners of the prestigious Platinum Microphone Award every year, given to the best radio station in the world. No need to look it up. It's real. The Fan.
Here, care is where you need it. With over 350 primary care providers in Central Ohio, expert care is minutes away. See how we care for all of you at mountcarmelforyou.com.
Getting great deals at Meijer on the items your family loves makes shopping a good deal better. This week, plump and juicy red seedless grapes are $1.29 a pound. Certified Angus beef ground beef from Chuck is just $4.99 a pound. Purple Cow 48-ounce ice cream and frozen yogurt and select varieties of frozen novelties are just $2.99. And 12 packs of Coca-Cola or Pepsi products are buy two, get one free, plus deposit where applicable. Get more and save more at Meijer. That's the good life. Exclusions apply. See all deals in store or in the Meijer app.
No matter where you are, Coughlin is there, in store or online. CoughlinCars.com. 13 new car brands, over 1,000 pre-owned vehicles, 16 convenient locations for sales, service, and parts, plus 4 state-of-the-art collision centers. CoughlinCars.com. Shop locally owned, CoughlinCars.com.
Coughlin has the car for you. My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
It's the limited time tax sale. You buy 2 windows, you get 2 free, plus no interest until 2030 and an extra $500 off only in March. Call them today, 614-502-5220, universalwindowsdirect.com.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
The Open Season Sportsman's Expo, presented by Progressive and Can-Am, March 14 to 16, heads to the Ohio Expo Center. Tickets on OpenSeasonSportsman'sExpo.com. Buy early and save. Be sure to check out Tacticam and Toyota Tundra, official cell cam and truck of the Expo.
Do you realize making the minimum monthly payments on your credit cards, it'll take nearly 20 years to pay them off? What if I told you there's a way for you to get them all paid off in just a matter of weeks? Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. Imagine wiping out all of your credit cards. Here's where you go. AFLcash.com. That's AFLcash.com. Advantage First Lending is the easy button for tapping in to hundreds of thousands of dollars in your home equity. That's not the bank money. It's your money. Listen, your home, the value is way up. And now AFLcash.com has a super fast, hassle-free program that lets you turn that equity into cash. People who do this are living their best life, their credit card debt free, with cash left over for other stuff like home improvements, maybe a vacation. See how much money you can get now. Go to AFLcash.com or call 844-394-CASH. That's 844-394-CASH. Say goodbye to greedy credit card companies. That's AFLcash.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS 1209177. Subject to lender approval. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
We at The Fan have created a show where you can be a homer, a hater, or whatever you want to be. Your family may not listen to you, but we will. Sundays at 11, it's The Fan Call-In Show presented by ESPN Bet at Hollywood Casino Columbus. You're welcome.
And now, Public Education Matters with Ohio Education Association President Scott Damaro.
When we take the time to read with our children, we show them that reading is important and fun. When we read stories with diverse characters and viewpoints with our kids, we show them new ways to see themselves and the world around them. Celebrate our nation of diverse readers as we celebrate Read Across America this week and all year round.
Public Education Matters, brought to you by the Ohio Education Association.
Some foot issues just can't be fixed by those expensive shoe stores or shoe inserts. A foot exam from a doctor of podiatric medicine, who is the medical expert in foot and ankle care, may give solutions after doing a complete foot examination. If you suffer from foot, heel, or ankle pain, let us help you find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association so you know you are being treated by the very best. For more information or to find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association near you, visit ohiofoot.org.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Nice and mild out there right now, but the temperatures are going to take a nosedive this afternoon as a cold front moves on through the region. Showers expected to redevelop around 4 o'clock and continue through tonight, eventually transitioning to a few snow showers after midnight. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
An encyclopedic knowledge of sports and other random things you may or may not care about.
I think I found my mentor.
Rockman and Ice.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
The Fan. Connect with the show on X at 971BFS. Jump in our YouTube chat or just send a raven. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
And we are brought to you and sponsored by our great friends at Diamond Cellar, your true jeweler for over 75 years. Tyler asking the question on social in regard to the cart return. Are we talking about returning the carts back to the store door or the cart return in the parking lot? He said he was a cart jockey at Acme in high school, so I look at returning to the door as a nice touch but unnecessary. I think you hit that right. It's a nice touch if you want, but I also think I'm not return all the way to the front door. I will sometimes, but I think you just go to the stall, go to the cart barn, put it there, and then you've done your job. That's probably the way that I would view on that. All right. I laid out 4 things for you two. Whose march is biggest? Buckeye men's basketball, Buckeye women's basketball, Blue Jackets, put your own bias out of it, Bake. I know that'll be difficult. Or the quarterback situation at Ohio State. You want to fast forward to the end of the month and get the answer. Which one do you want to fast forward to the end of the month to, and which one do you think is most critical?
Team 126. What happens with Jake Diebler's squad?
I think I think that's the correct answer because I think that's the program that's in the worst spot, right? Like you mentioned, Bo, Kevin McGuff's team, they've been good now for a handful of years. They've got Jelani Cambridge, who's one of the best freshmen in the country. The Blue Jackets are set up here for the foreseeable future, and the football team is the football team, right? Yeah. I mean, the football team could have a bad year, and they're still going to be a 10-2, 11-2, something like that. So it's definitely this basketball squad that hasn't made it to past the second round of the tournament in, 13 years now.
Everybody else is ahead of schedule. I mean, Buckeye football is coming off a national championship, and I think if you were to look at, they are now going to open a new 2-year window towards winning another one, right? I mean, the window's always open for Ohio State football. You got one more year of Caleb Downs. Whether it's Julian or Lincoln, you're going to have probably 2 years of that quarterback with Jeremiah Smith. So this is a new generation of Buckeye football, and it's a 2-year window that's coming off of just hitting the lottery. So there isn't any pressure. There isn't anything. Now, it's Ohio State football, so it's built in. But quite honestly, they could miss on this quarterback thing, and I don't think they will, but they could, and it's fine. It's more than fine. They're still going to make the playoff. They're still going to do all of those things. The Blue Jackets are a year ahead, at least, maybe 2 years ahead. And whatever happens, we said be in the mix at the time of the outdoor game. They were more than that. They're right in the thick of it. And let's see these young guys grow. I mean, that was something we talked about. Well, we've seen, that play last night on the goal where Kent Johnson kind of flips it kind of sideways, no look down the boards. It hits Fantilli, and then Fantilli waits for Zach to clear and then puts it right on his stick. I mean, that's why we said last week they have the foundation of a team that can win a cup. I mean, those are the most important players for the future of this team, all involved in a play. So that is in a good spot. Kevin McGuff's team, Cambridge is a freshman, and Cody McMahon's a junior. They were both first-team All-Big Ten. They're both back. So he's running it right back. So he's under, and they've built a really good program. Deebs isn't under any sort of pressure, not in terms of job, but if you're trying to build it back to when his brother played here, that's the one that illuminated me last night that is the furthest to go. And I think it's a long ways.
Yeah, and you've got to make March matter the most if you're Jake Diebler and company, not only for whom you have on your roster right now, but who you've got committed, who you've got in the pipeline, who you might be able to pick out of the portal. I mean, I think that's of the things that were missed this season for Ohio State men's basketball. It was the portal. It was the portal people they brought in didn't hit. It was that the money allocated to those players it was bad investments. And so I think this month will play a big factor in teams that aren't going to make the tournament, or even teams that are going to make the big dance, or the NIT, or the college basketball crown. What steps are being taken to ensure that Team 127 has the proper portal persons, and that you feel that you've gotten a good return on investment from guys you look to add in the portal for next season?
I will say this with the basketball team, and it's just the nature of the sport with basketball. You're really one off season away from basketball at all times from flipping it around. Now, I don't know if that means sustained long-term success like a Thad Matta type run, but we know that first recruiting class that Thad had really gave that team momentum, got the Buckeyes on the national stage, and allowed more people to come there. But if you make the right additions in one off season, a player or two here or there, the basketball team can flip pretty quickly, even though maybe that's not a 12, 15-year run.
I think the hard thing is it's probably in the old days. I think you're exactly right, Bake. You get the Matt Sylvester shot, that propels into the Thad 5, and away you go. Right? That's the way that all worked. So you had the baseline of guys who were coming back, and then you had the Thad 5 on top of it. So he hit a rocket ship. And basically popped a banana in Mr. Fusion, hopped in a DeLorean, and skipped like 4 years of a build with one recruiting class. You could do that if you but just look at, even for example, look at Rutgers this year. Rutgers did that. They did the equivalent of that. They have two on Rutgers' team right now are two of the top 5 picks in what is considered by most to be a very good NBA draft. And what's it netted them? It's never been more difficult. And I think the other thing from the Ohio State perspective is, and this is why Jake's job is so difficult, he's trying to meld together returning players who are going to be foundational guys, young recruits, and then he's going to have to land some portal. He's going to have to do all of those things. And you have an NIL base here that is primarily focuses football and making sure football stays where it is. So without looking, can you guess where, and this doesn't mean everything, but it means something. Can you guess where Ohio State ranks in basketball recruiting this year in the country? Or no, in the Big Ten. Just do Big Ten. In the Big Ten, where does this Ohio State class rank?
9th.
Did you look?
No.
Nailed it. 9th. So it's USC, Washington, Northwestern, Penn State, Iowa, Rutgers, Michigan, Michigan State, Ohio State at 9.
And, Bo, that class is not big, right? It's 2 or 3 guys, correct?
2 kids.
2 kids?
2 kids.
It's the kid from Richmond Heights, and then the kid from, a kid from Columbus is next year.
I got it for you. It's
you got the UA kid in 26.
Amari Bynum, who's out of Branson, Missouri, and then Dorian Jones out of Richmond Heights in the Cleveland area.
And Bynum's the big guy, 6'9", I believe.
Yeah, 6'8", 225, and Jones is 6'4", 160. And then they have, they put a lot in the Darren Peterson thing that didn't land. But that's the thing that makes, I think, this job, I think the job is tough, and I think that the appetite to fix it, I don't know if it's an appetite that is relentless in its approach to fix it, because it's going to take that. I mean, you have to hit on, you got to hit on your classes, you got to hit on the guys. This season from Devin Royal is exactly what the doctor ordered. If Junie Mobley plays a second season, now we're talking, right? Now you're talking. Now you're starting to get the base of something. And then you accentuate that with some portal, because you're going to have to. And then who knows if these freshmen can come in and go or not. You never know that if they can or not. But that's the one that is, you keep coming back to it as what we saw last night in terms of the attendance is not great. What we've seen over the last decade on the court is not great. And it's a big dig to kind of find your way out of it. Everybody else has turned the corner. They've all already turned the corner. We did this a couple of years ago, Reese, on the show, where we talked about if you had to draft in terms of closest to winning a championship, all the teams we talk about that are not Buckeye football. And Burrow was at the top of it with Cincinnati. And then we were looking at the other ones. And the Crew were at the top of that list for sure, because they are one of the model franchises, absolutely. But it was Cavs were in the mix. Blue Jackets were low in the mix. And Buckeye basketball was kind of in that mix as well. Well, the Jackets have usurped them. They've passed them. And it's going to be a big dig to dig out of it. It's not as simple as it used to be, where you land a class. It doesn't have that type of impact unless you land 5 of them. And even then, you have to find a way to motivate. You have to find a way to reach them. And you got to have veterans. When you think about what happens in March, it's guard play. You got to have veteran guard play in the mix as well. That example I gave you guys of Rutgers is really kind of what happens. They went as all in as can be. They are 4-16 on the season and 7-12 in the league. And they're going to have 2 of the top 5 picks in the NBA draft. There's not a roadmap like it used to be. It's much, much more complicated. Jake Trotter in 2 minutes, Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan. Hey there, friends. Bo Bishop here. As football winds down, college basketball is gearing up, and fans are ready to see which teams will prove they are ready to shine in March and who will be seen in San Antonio. You can get on all the action from tip-off to the final whistle at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Right now, new ESPN Bet Sportsbook customers can bet $10 and get $100 back in bonus bets and unlock 30 days of ESPN Plus. Download the app. Sign up with the promo code Radio100 to get started today. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
There's a new way to surround yourself with savings at Giant Eagle and Market District. Shop Giant Eagle's uncompromising quality at a reliable price with everyday savings. Look for signs throughout the store to find bargains on produce, meat, and more. Visit Giant Eagle to see how easy it is to save.
Everyone deserves a fast and reliable connection. One that helps better their everyday through the things they value most. Friends and family, education and career. A connection that opens pathways to opportunity and builds roads to a better future. At Spectrum, we're committed to delivering just that every single day. Because with the right connection, anything is possible. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. GI Bill, SkillBridge, and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.
This is the White Castle Call of the Crave, and it can happen anytime, even right now. So for a limited time, go get your hands on crispy shrimp nibblers. Only at White Castle. Follow your crave. Limited time only.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Let me introduce you to a man with a magnificent salt and pepper beard. A man who's currently roasting lamb on a spit. A man who runs the Rocky River Greek Festival. That man is Jake Trotter.
Indeed it is. He joins on the Bryant Heating Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Of course, senior college football reporter at ESPN. Why is identifying and drafting a quarterback so hard?
Well,
let's just go big picture stuff right out of the gates.
Wow. If I had the answer to that question, I would be a GM somewhere. I think there's so many factors that go into it, and it's not just your ability to throw the football or your size or quickness or fundamentals, footwork. There's a intangible factor you have to project, and that's really difficult to do. I think also, too, and, I saw this in Cleveland, what you have in terms of a foundation when a quarterback comes in, I think makes a huge difference in that quarterback's development. So it's not just about drafting. It's what kind of ecosystem you have when that quarterback arrives. So you look at Kansas City, for example, you draft Patrick Mahomes. Fabulous talent. We all agree. But, if he doesn't have Andy Reid, if he doesn't have a year to learn under Alex Smith, maybe he doesn't become a superstar right away the way that he did. Conversely, you look at Cleveland and, Baker Mayfield, number one pick in the draft, fabulous college player. He comes in, his head coach is fired midway through his rookie season. He's got a new offensive coordinator. The next year, he's got a new head coach, another play caller, new offensive coordinator who wasn't calling plays at the time in Todd Monken. That coach, Freddie Kitchens, is fired. Then you bring in Kevin Stefanski. I mean, that kind of turmoil has an effect on the development of a quarterback. And so, again, it's not just projecting the quarterback. It's having the foundation in place so that quarterback can thrive. I mean, you look at Washington, you've got, we all know about Terry McLaurin, just fabulous player, very underrated in the NFL. They signed a bunch of stopgap veterans, to support the team and the quarterback. And then you've got Cliff Kingsbury, who's, say what you will about him as a head coach, has always been an elite quarterback whisperer, going back to when he had Mahomes. So all of that together, I think, makes a huge difference in what you ultimately get out of your quarterback. And, I mean, the guy's got to have it, both mentally and physically. But I do think that quarterback development, has a lot to do with where you walk into. And that's why some teams just can't develop a quarterback and why other teams, just seems like they know what they're doing and are able to do it.
So much is circumstance, isn't it? I'm quick to point out, I don't know where you stand on this. I guess it's odd I've never asked you this through all the years and all the times we've talked. But anytime somebody comes to me from the Browns perspective and says, well, gosh, look what Baker's doing. I'm like, I don't think you can get to that Baker. I don't think you could ever got there in Cleveland because I don't think he had trust. I don't think they trusted him, and I don't think he trusted them. And so that now if you ask yourself the question, if this regime up there drafts Baker, does it work? Then my inclination would be yes, it probably would have.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. So the version of Baker you're getting, which I think, top 12 quarterback, that fair?
Yeah.
In the NFL right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, we just saw Jalen Hurts, who I think is kind of in that range. You can go pretty far in the playoffs with that guy if you've got, the other pieces around him. It was never going to work with Baker in Cleveland because the regime that was installed at the time didn't want him, and Baker lost trust in that regime, particularly the head coach. So it was never going to work. But again, that's why I say, if you draft a quarterback and then you fire that, so let's say Cleveland this year, let's say they draft Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders, right? Mm-hmm. And then let's say they go 5-12, which I think is perfectly realistic. Then they fire Kevin Stefanski. Now it's a new head coach. And maybe that quarterback, a new head coach, not exactly what he's looking for. You struggle again. Then you fire the GM. I mean, it's just, this stuff gets cyclical. And when you don't have continuity in the NFL or college football for that matter, it is very difficult to have success. And you've got to marry everything up from the owner to the GM to the head coach to the quarterback. If that is incongruent, I believe it's very difficult to have success in the NFL. And so that's why it's really interesting to see what the Browns do, because I do think that in some ways Shedeur Sanders might be a better fit for the type of offense that Stefanski wants to run. On the other hand, I don't think, and this isn't me, I'm not a scout, but talking to people in Indy last week, I don't think it's particularly close between the two. I think Cam Ward is clearly the top quarterback prospect. He has far more upside than Shedeur Sanders does. But, if you draft for fit and then you lose the fit, where does that leave you?
Well,
so the Browns are in a tough situation.
It's true, but it's also a life raft, because the Watson deal put them in such a tough spot that sitting there at 2, it's in a way, Jake, a get-out-of-jail-free card. And honestly, the crazy thing, now if you miss on a quarterback, it's not nearly as punitive as it was 15 years ago. We've seen it. I mean, hell, Arizona pivoted off of Josh Rosen in 1 year. We've seen the Jets pivot off of Zach Wilson and Sam Darnold relatively quickly. Like, you can move off of them pretty quickly. So when I hear people say, well, the Browns should take a quarterback at 2, I'm always like, well, of course they should. It's the only way to fix this. It's the highest ceiling, best chance to fix it is to go quarterback at 2. And I think, buddy, honestly, if I'm them, I trade to 1, because I'm with you. They have got to like one of them more than the other, and I would not leave that part to chance.
Well, I completely agree with you on all of that. And their only way out of this mess is to draft Jane Daniels, to draft C.J. Stroud. Otherwise, they're just going to be in the wilderness, because their talent level is going to rapidly begin to dwindle. Guys are going to get older. They're not going to be able to afford guys. Guys are going to want to leave in the case of Miles. You don't have, that young up-and-coming talent core because of all the first-round picks you had to give up. The cap is a total fiasco right now. So, but your way out of it, you draft a superstar quarterback, and you're in the playoffs again, maybe.
Yeah.
You're I don't know if you're in the Super Bowl, Knicks, but you have a path forward. Until you draft that guy, you're going nowhere. And I came away from the combine thinking that the only path forward for the Browns is to move up to 1 and take Cam Ward. I think if they don't do that and they allow the Giants to move up to 1, or the Raiders, whoever, to move up to 1 and take Cam Ward, and then you're left there at 2 with, a guy that I think would have been a second-round pick in a lot of quarterback drafts in Shedeur Sanders, or at least, late first round. Or, can you trade back and pick up picks? That probably would be the best. I don't even know if that would be the best path. I honestly don't know what to do at that point, which is why you got to take Cam Ward. You got to go get him, give up a second-round pick, whatever, cut off the Giants, and, get a prospect that you can work with at the position.
Yeah, I was over there too, and the one thing I think in the Shedeur conversation is he's kind of in that Bo Nix, Michael Penix situation where, and I think that's probably where his talent lines up, is somewhere in that neck of the woods. And I think what you learn from the Nix situation is the circumstance. Like, Sean Payton really wanted Nix, so he put him in a position to succeed, and they made the postseason. So that's the thing with Shedeur, is if it is Cleveland, how can they make sure that situation is good enough for him to be? I heard a lot of people over there do the comparison with him with Teddy Bridgewater. Well, before the injury, Teddy Bridgewater is pretty damn good, and is certainly someone you can win with in the league.
By the way,
what's that?
That's a good comparison for him. By the way,
I think so too. That's one that kind of fits a little bit. So if that's the case, that's certainly worth a starting quarterback in the NFL who's in the top half of the league is certainly worth a number 2 pick. And the thing that I always bristle at is when people say, well, take the sure thing, Abdul Carter. Buddy, I was here. I watched Chase Young firsthand, and I know there are other things that led to those circumstances, but there wasn't anybody who thought Chase Young was going to be anything other than Myles Garrett or Joey Bosa, Nick Bosa. Nobody thought that, and it hasn't worked. And I guess the point is there are no sure things in the draft.
There are no sure things in the draft. when you draft in the top 5, though, you better get a sure
Got to
thing.
hit.
And I mean, it's catastrophic to your franchise if you draft a guy in the top 5 and it goes badly. So Shedeur, I think, has a cap on what he can be. Like, are we ever going to see a scenario in which Shedeur is a top 8 quarterback in the NFL? That would surprise me. But to your point, I do think he brings a level potentially of competency that you just like flat out didn't have and don't have right now.
Yeah.
And I think there's something to be said for that. It's just, are you competing against Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Lamar? Like, I don't see that with Shedeur Sanders. But could you, if you have a level of competency and it kind of settles everybody down, including number 95, I think there's value in that. It's just, to me, I'm trying to win a Super Bowl, and I'm trying to go get the top guy in the draft. That's where I am.
I would do the
with
same.
this. Although the Browns got so many holes, like the idea of giving up more picks is a little frightening.
Yeah, I think they can't let what happened in 16. I know you weren't up there at that time, but they loved Goff, and the Rams went ahead and got him, and then they had to get out of it. And I think they got to do whatever they can to get the guy they want. Great chat as always, my friend. Thanks for your time.
All right, see you, buddy.
All right, there he goes, Jake Trotter, senior college football writer at ESPN, joining us on the Brian Heating Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. Thing or Not a Thing up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Hair Volume is the best-selling hair tablet in the world and one of many award-winning natural hair products from New Nordic.
The Ohio State Coaches Daily Show is brought to you locally on The Fan by Credit Union of Ohio.
This is the Daily Show with Coach Jake Diebler, brought to you by Encova Insurance. 116-114 in double overtime. Ohio State defeats Nebraska. Guts, heart, fortitude, whatever you want to call it. Your team dug deep to do what it took. You had to feel great about the way they handled this very difficult game.
Yeah, really proud of just all of that stuff you just mentioned. And we talked before the game, it was going to take, great fight and really, togetherness those were going to be the two biggest keys. And we had just enough. I thought we stayed really connected. They tested that, certainly, with, us. We gave them some easy looks defensively where we weren't quite as connected as we wanted to be. But, fellas, how about our crowd and hanging in there with us all the way through the end? That was awesome.
All right, we'll have another comment in just a moment.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, two-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance and their local independent agents are prepared for what's next and protect what matters most to you. Whether that's your home, car, business, or family, Encova's got your back with a policy that fits you perfectly. With local independent agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova's playbook is an easy win for your peace of mind. You can trust their team of agents to develop a strategy that's just right for you. And it's not just X's and O's. Your expert agent will guide you and provide insurance solutions so you can confidently manage your risk and count on a financially secure future. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you. Encova is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
Ohio State with a victory in double overtime, 116-114 over Nebraska. Jake, how about getting stops on defense against players that really had it going for a while there?
Yeah, well, Bryce Williams he's a special player, and we talked about it going into this game. I mean, no one's really been able to stop him, and the biggest thing for us was not letting some of those other guys get going and giving him different looks. And I thought our trap on the ball screen bothered him there for a little bit, and listen, he's a really good player. And when you get going like that and you're that talented, the basket probably looks double to him there. But I thought, our different looks, and we kind of wore him down a little bit at the end. We forced him to miss, some there, and especially that second overtime, which was critical.
Jake, you talked in the pregame interview about how rebounding would be key. 10 offensive rebounds, kind of what you needed to get out of this deal?
Yeah, we wanted to, they still got us on the overall glass game and beat us in second chance points. So especially we gave up some from the perimeter late. But, all in all, I thought our fight and toughness was really good, and especially when we were a little smaller there for stretches when we got in foul trouble.
It's the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, basketball fans, Credit Union of Ohio wants to help you score more by making life more affordable. It's time to play with a team that helps you win every day. Credit Union of Ohio's loan rates have dropped to provide affordable financing for the things you want and need. It's time to reevaluate your current loans and consider refinancing with a team that cares about you. Check out current specials and get started scoring more money at cuofohio.org. That's cuofohio.org. NCUA insured, equal housing lender.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
They're trained. They're fired up. Let's do it. When you need heat, they can't be beat. They're Ohio State's undefeated heating and cooling team. For plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling, there's only one team. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results. Call the Waterworks at 614-232-2222 or visit them online at thewaterworks.com. A proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Scott the Scots here. How did the grass feel when it woke up from winter? A little crabby. Get it? Crabgrass? Right now, there's a short window of time to apply Scott's Turf Builder Halt's Crabgrass Preventer. It stops crabgrass before it invades and feeds your lawn for a fast green up after winter.
Save up to $20 today at the Home Depot or Lowe's for Scott's day-long saving time. Offers valid March 6th through 19th. See store for full details and product selection.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
First Friday miracles are always better with Uncle Bo. This is Bishop and Friends.
Indeed it is. Hey, guys, coming up in about 13 minutes from now, winner there gets the $50 gift card to our great friends at High Bank. You can hit us up on those on the YouTube chat or on the social at 971BFS. Both of those places work to net the big $50 gift card there to our great friends at High Bank. So get those in. Still got time, about 12 minutes. Time for a little thing or not a thing. Hit it, guys.
Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Apex Plumbing Pros.
Mary Kay Cabot of Cleveland.com reported yesterday, quote, "It's the end of the Nick Chubb era in Cleveland, and it's sad it has to end this way," end quote. After the season concluded, Browns general manager Andrew Berry acknowledged Chubb's pending free agency as, quote, "something we have to work through over the next several weeks." In that reporting from Cleveland.com, Mary Kay Cabot writes, quote, "The Browns gave him last season to return from a knee injury, make more than $2 million, and walk away with some grace and dignity despite being a shadow of his former bruising self," end quote. Chubb's 2024 season was already shortened by that knee injury, but then derailed by a broken bone in his right foot. Thing or not a thing?
So I didn't read this. The quotes that you read, are those Mary Kay's opinions on this?
Yes.
Okay. So Andrew Berry talked last week at the Combine about this, the general manager of the Browns, and one thing he said is, I mean, you don't close the door on anything, on Nick Chubb or anything, but I do think the tone here is interesting from Mary Kay. Like, I don't think she would write that unless she got that distinct feeling from someone in the organization. Like, does she say sources said or anything, or is it just her pontificating?
Feels like more pontificating.
Okay. I don't think the door is closed for him to return to Cleveland. I think the reality is this is a catastrophic knee injury. It is a second injury that happened after that, and it's a guy who's had not one but two catastrophic injuries in his career. I think he was probably close to getting back to some semblance of himself before the second injury happened. It all just sucks. It all just sucks. He was really the most, not even close, the most popular Cleveland Brown when healthy during his tenure, and unfortunately it was just cut short. If this is the end, it was just cut short by a catastrophic injury. And it's one of those incredible what ifs of what would it have looked like had he just stayed healthy. But I don't know if you'll ever know that now.
It is amazing that Nick Chubb returned from the injury that he had in Georgia. And then he has basically the same thing, just as bad again in his career. I I was one, and again, I don't know, and I'm not the doctors. He never really seemed like himself last year. It seemed like, especially with nothing to play for at the end of the season last year, that he probably shouldn't have come back. He probably, to me, should have just taken the rest of the year off and kept working in his rehab, and then came back hopefully as strong as ever next year, although I don't know if that's possible with that knee injury. It's a shame that he suffered the broken foot, and if that is the last time we see Nick Chubb in a Browns jersey, it's a shame that that's the lasting image there. I know it won't be for me. He was a damn good running back, and it's a shame that that they never got more of a run with him, because he was a player and a dude, by all accounts, a great dude. This seems like he deserved it.
Yeah, ditto to the Chubb being great. It stinks, but it does feel like, the $2 million they paid him last season. You can go explore and find what your market is, and Cleveland can also be waiting for you if, in fact, they might be one of, if not the best offer for your services. Like, it's tough to look at a running back with so many lower body injuries and say, yep, premium price for you. It's just the business of this.
It'll be veteran type deal, and maybe incentive based, something like that.
At a recent investor conference, Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav reflected on the company's failure to reach a new media rights deal with the NBA. A lawsuit and settlement will grant WBD international rights to the association and the ability to display league content on Bleacher Report and House of Highlights. On top of that, Warner Brothers Discovery reached a sub-licensing deal with Disney for Inside the NBA, allowing it to continue producing the studio show, which will air on ESPN and ABC surrounding marquee events next season. Zaslav told investors, quote, "We have a very strong lineup of sports in the U.S. and around the world. And I said, our job is to make sure we have enough quality sports so that we're creating real value for our distributors. And I think it turns out not doing the NBA was a great decision for us. We picked up college football playoffs. We picked up NASCAR in the summer. We have a great lineup globally, and we saved a huge amount of money," end quote. Thing or not a thing?
Well, he answers to those people he's talking to, right? And what they're looking for every year is a bigger return on their investment from the previous year. I think what you will find is a situation where that was one thing that you identified Turner with. It was probably more than anything else. I mean, like reruns of Law and Order. I don't know what else TNT and TBS are running anymore if they're not running that. Yeah, they have the college football playoffs, but that's a sublease from ESPN, and it's a very minimal package, right? So you have a couple of things, but there's nothing that is daily creating value the way that the NBA did for them. And while the NBA isn't what it once was, it's still something that's there a bunch of nights a year for Turner. So I think he's got the wrong read on this, but his own fate and his shareholders' fate will be decided later on that side of thing. This is the guy, by the way, who took HBO out of the name. It was HBO Max. He took the HBO out of it. Like the most valuable entity he has in terms of brand recognition and power, he took it out of the name of the app. So that's something that's very real as well. I don't think this ends well for him. I mean, it'll end well for him because rich guys stay rich and he's going to get a buyout and all those things. But my guess is he's not running Warner Brothers long term.
This is a thing to me because it just reminds me of a couple things. Is one, how much sports matter to these TV companies and entities, and the most eyeballs now, as we've talked about, Bo, are on sports. It used to be Thursday night on NBC was what people were watching. Now they are watching sports, and it's also a thing to me that it reminds me how much of a business sports is. Yeah, it seems like we've gotten a couple of those here recently, obviously, and the sports world is making big money, and it is big business.
I wanted to separate these comments from Zaslav in two different questions because he does go on to add, we're really happy that we're back in the business with the NBA, and that deal is really going to work for us. We have House of Highlights for the next 11 years globally, and we think that's going to be a place that's growing pretty significantly. A lot of young generations don't want to watch the whole game. They want to go to one place. It's almost like a red zone for basketball, and so we think that's a great growth engine, end quote. Thing or not a thing?
No, it's not. And as someone who is a father of young people, I will tell him where the kids go to do the thing that he is right about, that they don't a lot of times want to sit there and watch a whole game. They want to watch a melt of a game. They're going to YouTube. And that habit is already locked in. I mean, I don't see any scenario how my kids would not always, unless they have exclusivity. Now, he's talking about around the globe, but unless he has exclusivity of highlights and the NBA's willingness to take all of their highlights off YouTube, the way Major League Baseball did a few years ago, unless you're willing to do that, I don't think House of Highlights is something that, I don't even know if my kids would know what that is. And he's talking about my kids when he talks about the younger generation. That's who he's talking about. That's who he's trying to capture.
Yeah, I think he's right that people do want the highlights and the snippets, but shows like SportsCenter, the numbers are dwindling. And a show like Baseball Tonight, which I used to love, that you could get all of the baseball highlights in 1 hour and you didn't have to watch the game, that's been gone forever off of ESPN because it wasn't getting the eyeballs. So, I mean, he's right that people want the highlights, but they're not going to TV to get them.
Well, I think he's doing it I'll tell you that my kids love SportsCenter. They watch it every morning. Like, they love it's on as they're eating breakfast. They turn on the TV right away. They go right to SportsCenter. Yeah. So maybe there's a little bit of a comeback there on that side of things. All right, final hour of the program on a first Friday. Still time to get your Hey Guys questions in to the fellas. You can do that in the YouTube chat. You can do it on the social at 971BFS. We will do that. Get your officially endorsed as well. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
The Big Nine was a sad, incomplete place. Enter Ohio State. The rest is history. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED, because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, HIMS can help. Through HIMS.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds, through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at HIMS.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs, with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but HIMS can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to HIMS.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Hey friends, Beamer here, and all right, somebody cue up the wedding bells because I just hit my wedding weight. Down 56 pounds with the Waken 180, and I officially weigh the same as the day I said I do. What's even crazier was how fast I took off what probably took me 6-7 years to put on. Only 3 months in, and I've made a complete 180. We cracked open the wedding album to compare, and yes, I'm looking the same that I did 7 years ago. Although be it a few more gray hairs with a 2-year-old running around, that tends to happen. I'm not done, though. Once you learn how easy losing weight can actually be with Awaken 180, your goals, they start to get bigger. Wedding weight, yeah, I hit that, but why not see what it feels like, what it looks like to be at my ideal weight? All goals start shifting. Who knows? Maybe I'll start hitting some 5Ks, playing tennis, being more active. Probably not going to hit 5Ks, but hey, you never know what's going to happen. What does your life look like down 30 pounds, 50 pounds, or even more? To find out, do what we did and make your own 180 at awaken180weightloss.com.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Home values in Columbus are sky high, and you have a ton of equity. Your financial advisor thinks the market has peaked. So if you're thinking about selling, it's time. Except for two things. High interest rates will burn you on a new home loan, and you're not ready to move. Savvy financial advisors suggest Truehold's new Sell and Stay program. It's ingenious because they buy your home now while its value is high, but you can stay in your home as long as you want with an easy, affordable lease. Smart, right? Truehold will make you a solid cash offer, not a lowball offer like the others. It's based on your home's current value. The cash is yours to travel, pay off bills, or secure your retirement. And again, you can stay in your home with a comfortable lease. Truehold covers property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. See how much Truehold will pay for your home today. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out your home's value without moving. That's Truehold.com.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. The Blue Jackets took a 6-2 loss in Tampa last night against the Lightning, but still occupy the first wildcard spot in the East. CBJ are 2 points better than the Rangers for that spot. Jackets will skate at the Florida Panthers tomorrow night at 7. Earlier today, the team announced they've signed Matthew Olivier to a 6-year, $18 million extension. The 28-year-old Olivier has 12 goals on the season. The trade deadline in the NHL is Friday at 3 o'clock. In college hoops, the Big Ten women's tournament starts today in Indianapolis. Ohio State won't play until Friday's quarterfinals. In NFL news, the Chiefs have traded two-time All-Pro left guard Joe Thuney to the Bears for a fourth-round draft pick. On Tuesday, Chicago picked up former Buckeye Jonah Jackson from the L.A. Rams in exchange for a sixth-rounder. Jackson played with new Bears head coach Ben Johnson, when both were in Detroit in 2023. This update sponsored by Germain Toyota, the best selection of new and used cars in Central Ohio. View their full selection of vehicles at germaintoyota.net.
Putting up with Dom Taberi for a decade, the broadcast gods gave Bo these two. This is Bishop and Friends.
I get to Hey Guys in just a second. This is the wording of this is very interesting. So 2 minutes ago, the Cincinnati Bengals released Sam Hubbard, put out a tweet saying to the Cincinnati Kid, thank you, at Sam Hubbard. It's being treated by, for example, Jordan Schultz, of the NFL, that they are releasing defensive end. This is his exact quote. The Bengals are releasing defensive end and franchise icon Sam Hubbard. But Jay Morrison, who we've had on a bunch and is in Cincinnati and locked in, tweeted, hell of a career by a hell of a man. I hope retirement is as good to him as he's been to the organization. So I don't think Jay writes retirement unless that's what this is. And I can't get it anywhere. I'm trying to find anywhere to clarify that, where it's a release or a retirement. Oh, there you go. Well, 15 seconds ago, Jay was ahead of the game. Adam Schefter. Sam actually put it out on social. So I knew Jay wouldn't write that unless he knew it. He's just too damn good at his job to do that. Schefter with the statement from Sam Hubbard announcing he's retiring from the NFL. This is when you feel old, is right now. So Rothman and I did a show before it was the Urban Meyer show. We used to do Urban Intelligence every week, where we would break down what Urban said following the call. Every week on the Urban Meyer show, Urban would come on when Sam was a freshman and talk about Sam, but not know how to use him. They couldn't figure out what he was. They knew he was a crazy athlete. Everybody's heard the story of how Urban's recruiting him, and he sees him playing lacrosse because he's going to go play lacrosse at Notre Dame, and was one of the best lacrosse players maybe the state of Ohio has ever produced. Had he done that, he probably would have been. But was going to go to Notre Dame, play lacrosse. By the way, chose wisely. My kids love PLL, but there's a lot more money playing defensive end in the NFL than that. But they get him here, and they tried him everywhere. He was at tight end. He was at safety. He was a linebacker. It took a long time to kind of figure out what to do with him. And every week on his show, Urban would come on and talk about Sam. And talk about, he would mention him. Like, I kind of viewed it as, AR and I kind of viewed it as kind of like, hey, kid, I know we're bouncing you around, but we want you to hear that we see something special in you. We just don't know how to use it yet. And then they finally did. They did figure it out, and Sam ended up having a great career.
You talk about that with feeling old and that. I remember when Sam Hubbard was a senior at Cincinnati Moeller, calling their state semifinal game against Pickerington North in Dayton Welcome Stadium. He was a 6'6", 215, 225-pound safety at that time, who I believe at the time was still committed to play lacrosse. And on that field also for Pickerington North, Jake Butt and Godwin Igwebuike. Talk about a field full of talent that night. Moeller ended up beating Pick North and moving on to the state championship game that year. But, yeah, this one makes me feel old, Bo.
Yeah, it is. It goes quick, man. It goes absolutely quick. But, yeah, so there you go. So he is going – Sam Hubbard, former Buckeye great, former Bengals great, is retiring. So that's one of those things where Jay had it. He just – and he actually had it. He had the whole story, and he actually beat Sam with the announcement. All right, time for a little Hey Guys. Hit it, fellas.
Nothing is off limits. Your participation is required. Just use the hashtag #HeyGuys and ask anything you want. Do it now.
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 3 restaurant locations, Grandview, Gahanna, and now in Westerville. Drink local. Drink High Bank.
When you talk about High Bank, you're talking about the home of the best blended whiskey in America, 3 years running, located right here in town. Stop by those 3 locations, Grandview, Gahanna, Westerville. Enjoy the award-winning spirits for your next happy hour. Make your reservation at highbankco.com. Drink local, drink High Bank.
So we have that $50 gift card, that distillery tour, and tasting for up to 10 people for the best question.
Yep.
Jeremiah chimes in on the social media artist formerly known as Twitter. Man and Bone are doing their Pizza Madness this year. They do a food bracket challenge every year. Would you consider doing a 16, 32, or 64 team type of bracket for your favorite cocktails, bourbons, or beers?
Sure. Yeah. Could I was as you asked the question from Jeremiah, I'm thinking to myself, how many would I want in the bracket? Would I do I would probably have to have 2 regions of whiskeys, and then 1 region. In my head, I'm thinking, I'm kind of workshopping this. 2 regions of whiskeys, 1 region of, God, do I have enough for 1 whole region of beer? Or is it 2 regions of whiskeys and then maybe 2 regions of beer/cocktails? I could probably do that and get to 64 pretty quickly. I could definitely do 32 different whiskeys. That would be pretty easy to be able to do. You go down, you do bourbon, you do whiskey, you do rye, you do some scotch, some Japanese whiskeys. You could easily get there on that side of it. The question is, on the other side, can I get another 32 of them? But yeah, I'd be into that. I'm into that.
I feel like you almost got to break this up, right? Into, maybe a beer one separately and then your
beer
mixed
64?
drinks. I mean, you could do it.
I don't know if you need
64, maybe a beer 16 or something, and you have to break it up into.
I always get this all the time, Bake. People are like when I go to get a beer, if I get a beer, I just did this Friday night. We're at dinner, no names, please, with the kids, and I wouldn't mind having a beer. So it was Friday, let's it's 5:00 somewhere. So I said, well, what do you have on tap? And the waitress started going through all the stuff, and it was a long list. And so I said, listen, what's the closest thing you have on tap to a Coors? Like, I just what's the closest thing to beer-flavored beer that you have? That's what I need. I need the beer-flavored beer on tap, whatever that is. The closest they could do was Stella. Okay? Everything else was IPA. I don't swim in those waters. I think people think because I enjoy a nice brown liquor from time to time that I swim in the IPA waters because of the higher alcohol, but I'm not looking for that. So I don't think I could get to, if I put cocktails and beer together, I could get to 32 for sure. But those cocktails would have to be, some of those cocktails would have to be whiskey-based cocktails. But yeah, I'd be into that. I could do it.
I'm with you on that, Bo. I don't do the IPAs as well either. And I hate when you go somewhere and you ask for a Coors and they just automatically give you a Coors Light.
Yeah.
Drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Andrew asks on Twitter, hey guys, if you could place any of these draft-eligible Buckeyes on your NFL team, who do you select?
Well, I continue to be associated with the Cleveland Browns, and so I would just say this, like, you go get the quarterback you want at whichever one that is, and that's in the eye of the beholder for them, if it's Shedeur or if it's Cam Ward. You get the quarterback you want, and then you give me Emeka Egbuka, and now we're talking about Emeka on one side, Jerry Jeudy on the other. You still have David Njoku at tight end. You got a good young quarterback. Now we're talking about you're cooking with gas a little bit. I'd love to then also go get one of the running backs. Let's get greedy. Why not? Give me Quinshon Judkins falling in the third round and use one of the third round picks on him. But like you end up with a Cam Ward or Shedeur. You end up with Emeka Egbuka at the top of the second round, provided he would default to that point. And then if Quinshon's there in the third, which I don't know if any of that's going to be possible, but we're playing in a fantasy world, so why the hell not? That would be a home run.
Bo, I think the easy choice and the right choice to me is Emeka Egbuka. I think this is 10, 15 years of solid wide receiver play. But to be different from you, I'm going to say Donovan Jackson. Give me that versatility, that toughness on the offensive line. I don't know if he'll ever be your best offensive lineman, but he's another one that's going to have a 10, 12-year career barring injury to me.
I'll go different to the both of you and say, give me Cody Simon. I think there's a solid 5, 6, 7 years where you're playing at an all-pro level, or at least a Pro Bowl level, and it keeps him away from the Baltimore Ravens. I think that's another thing maybe with Jack Sawyer. I'm going to have him on the Browns, so I don't have him on the Steelers.
Just Jack Sawyer's going to be a Steeler or he's going to be a Raven.
Feels like that.
Maybe he could be a Bengal now that we have the Sam Hubbard.
I think I could tolerate that a little better.
A little bit better.
That I can choke down much easier than the other two.
Someone asked,
side of it.
I can't really read the name, not because I can't, I just don't know exactly how to. Asks on YouTube, hey guys, if you had to pick a new NFL team, what are your guidelines for selection?
So I did this like 20 years ago with the Premier League, and what I kind of did as criteria was, if I ever go to England, where am I going to go, and is there a chance that I'd be able to watch them play? So at the time, I landed on Chelsea. Because that seemed like something where if I ever went to England, I absolutely would go to London. So you had to pick a London team. And they were a team that was going to be competitive and they were going to spend and all those things. So we went with Chelsea. So I guess if you do the same thing if you're picking a new NFL team, I want to be good all the time. I'm picking the best organization. So like if you're going in terms of rooting for the Buffalo Bills would be a lot of fun, but do I ever really want to go to Buffalo as a one-off? No, not especially. I don't think I would. The same I would say, I would never be in the North. The Lions would be fun because of where they are right now, but they've never won anything. I grew up a Bears fan. That's brutal. It'd probably be, honestly, one of the LA teams. Like if Harbaugh's not coaching the Chargers and I got Herbert, the only thing there is do you trust ownership? So it might be the Rams because I do trust that ownership to continue to spend and be in the mix. San Francisco would be pretty good too. You kind of play that into, they're always good, and you play that into, you go out to the Bay Area. That's not far from Monterey Peninsula, but also you want to go north, you do wine country. So I'm thinking those things. I'm thinking like, how can I turn it into like a mini vacation to watch a team play, but then also be good?
So I feel like my criteria would have to be somewhere kind of close, not super far, in case I wanted to go watch a game. I think it'd have to be a team with a cool uniform to me. I can't get behind an ugly uniform. And I also think it'd have to be a team that never really took anything from me or a team that I didn't have any reason to hate. I also think it has to be a team that, I don't know, there's something, you got to have something to root for, right? Maybe almost like a lovable type loser. So it's pretty easy. I've got two choices. I'm either a Colts fan or a Lions fan. And I think I'll go Lions. I think they're a little better.
I'm going to go with San Francisco just for the sole reason that going out to California and wine country doesn't sound like a bad trip.
Yeah, and they're always good.
Yeah, you sold me on that, and they've always been consistent.
Unis, great unis.
Ownership's
great
from Youngstown.
It's true.
That tracks.
You got all those things that you need. Yeah, that's a good one. I like that.
All right, we got to pick a winner.
Well, he got me thinking about the bracket. Was it Jeremiah who did the whiskey cocktail bracket thing? I may see if I can put something like that. Put in my free time. I'll see if I can put that together. And
when you have a moment,
when I have a second, I'll try to get that in.
Bo, that has also made some people on the YouTube chat say they want the First Friday cocktail book as well. So put that on your list.
Yeah, that's. I'm efforting. I'm not coaching hoops now, so I got a little bit more time than I used to have. LeBron James took great umbrage with the idea of wanting to be the face of the NBA. Got me thinking about who is the face of the sports we pay attention to most. We'll get into that conversation coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
All the 10 TV people come over to our side of the building to take a deuce. That should tell you something about how we operate. The Fan.
Everyone deserves a fast and reliable connection. One that helps better their everyday through the things they value most. Friends and family, education and career. A connection that opens pathways to opportunity and builds roads to a better future. At Spectrum, we're committed to delivering just that every single day. Because with the right connection, anything is possible. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for mouth-watering meals and appetizing ingredients. Our low prices add up to big savings, plus over $600 in digital coupons each week, and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. At Kroger, you always get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Right now, 80% lean ground beef is on sale. 3-pound packages are only $3.99 a pound with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Hey, it's Leslie from Pella Columbus.
I'm Wilson from that other window place. Wait, Leslie, what's that dude doing over there at that window?
Well, that dude is Chase, and Chase is making that window look perfect. We're sticklers on detail, Wilson, both in our showroom and definitely in people's homes.
Chase, be careful. May have spilled some coffee over there just a bit ago.
Oh, he knows. He seems to work a lot more when you're around, Wilson. Get the window that homeowners rated the leading window brand in Columbus at PellaColumbus.com.
At NJM Insurance, we like to think of ourselves as a symphony. We start with a foundation of doing the right thing. Then we layer in dedicated reps whose priority is you. Add in excellent discount programs. And last, but certainly not least, we put our policyholders first. And the reason we don't use jingles or mascots is because it's just not us. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. NJM. Insurance underwritten by NJM Insurance Company and its subsidiaries.
If you're like most Americans, you've racked up tens of thousands in credit card debt. You're stuck with 20% interest fees, and even the monthly payments, well, they're hard to make. It's insane. Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. The good news is that there is a way out. AFLcash.com. That's AFLcash.com. Advantage First Lending. They specialize in fast, easy access to the equity in your home. Most homeowners have hundreds of thousands of dollars in their home equity. That's your money. AFLcash.com can get it out for you with zero junk fees and zero hassle. You can pay off all those credit cards in just a matter of days. Pay off your car loans too. Cut your monthly expenses by $800 or even $900. I'm telling you, the relief you need, well, it's right there at your fingertips. AFLcash.com or call 844-394-CASH. That's 844-394-CASH. Break out of the credit card debt prison with AFLcash.com.
Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1209177. Subject to lender approval. NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
Oh, hey, a fan show where you can be the star. Yes. Sundays at 11, it's the new Fan Call-In Show, presented by ESPN Bet at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Your calls, your tweets, your voicemails, your opinions. You could be a homer, a hater, or whatever you want to be. Your family may not listen to you, but we will. The Fan Call-In Show, presented by ESPN Bet at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Sundays at 11 on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Feeling the aches and pains of everyday life slowing you down? Introducing Blue Emu, America's #1 emu oil formula for pain relief. In a recent clinical trial, 91% of users saw improvement after using Blue Emu. Whether you're working hard, playing harder, or just staying active, Blue Emu penetrates deep to relieve joint and muscle pain fast. And best of all, you won't stink. Join the 91% who felt the difference. Find Blue Emu at your local retailer or online. Blue Emu works fast and you won't stink.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-472,000, 614-472,000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-472,000, 614-472,000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Feeling nice and warm out there right now, but don't get too complacent because some colder air moves in later on this afternoon. Looking at some showers redeveloping this afternoon. Today's high 60, but temperature is falling down to around 40 degrees by 6 p.m. Looking at a few snow showers tonight, low 31. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
If you haven't thought about Buckeye football today, I'm sorry to tell you that you're dead. Our condolences. Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan. Pull up a stool and ask the bartender for something neat, because Uncle Bo is on the radio. This is Bishop and Friends.
Yeah, if you're just joining us, some breaking news out of Cincinnati. Former Buckeye great and now former Cincinnati Bengals great Sam Hubbard announcing his retirement. It was interesting how it was initially reported as he was being released, and then within a minute or so of that report was Sam's statement saying that he was retiring from the game. Could be both. Could be both. He signed a 4-year, $40 million contract a couple of years ago. He when you think of Sam and his Bengals run, it's a short run, but he has some incredibly memorable plays. Of course, the fumble in the jungle is a big part of it in the 2022 season. 98 yards to the barn in the fourth quarter off of a Huntley fumble that became the longest fumble return touchdown in NFL postseason history, as well as the longest touchdown in Bengals playoff history. The go-ahead touchdown in the fourth quarter of the game as well. The Bengals won that game 24-17. So that is a monster part of what Sam is. That's certainly the fumble in the jungle. And then he's also got, and maybe we should have been paying closer attention to all of this. I never considered that he would retire, but his last play in the NFL was a touchdown pass from Joe Burrow.
Yeah, it was week 15, and they're winning in Tennessee against the Titans, and then he tore his PCL later that game.
I mean, I wonder if, they wouldn't have known, but they might have known that his time there was coming to an end.
Crazy to think that this is the end for him. I also think about him you talk about the wear and tear on the body and whatnot. Yeah. Sam had to put on a lot of weight really quick, too. We mentioned when he was in high school, he was 6'6", 215, 220 pounds. He put on a lot of bulk at Ohio State, and you just wonder, if and obviously he's a big dude, he had a big frame, but, if that extra weight really weighed on his body and made things harder for him, kind of surprising that he's retiring already, because he's still a pretty young guy, but leaves a lot more pie now, Reese.
Yeah, it looks like $11 million on the cap savings if you retire, but just goes back to the pie for everybody else. It looks like he injured his knee on that touchdown catch.
He did. Yeah, PCL. Man. Yeah, that was it. That's his last play in the NFL. Touchdown pass from Joe Burrow.
But yes, more pie for the Bengals.
Also pretty cool for a kid that nobody could figure out what to do with him his first year at Ohio State. And the idea that he had all of those plays at defensive end from the Bengals, but then also ends up as a tight end, which is one of the positions they were considering for him here when he was a freshman, when they were trying to figure it out. That would be a really fun conversation for people. I mean, Urban would absolutely have the best. He would know it, absolutely. I think Mick probably would. I would imagine Pantone would too. Who here remembers what those conversations were like? Because we just got it on the Urban Meyer show. And like I said, to me, it felt like Urban was saying, letting Sam know via his show, we know you've got a high ceiling and we're going to find a spot for you. We just got to figure out what it is, because they were pushing and pulling him kind of all over the field. It'd be a fascinating conversation for somebody who was on that staff. Was there jockeying to get Sam in rooms? Were there people trying to get, Larry Johnson, was he fighting to get him in the defensive end room? You'd have to go look and see who the safety coaches were at that time, his freshman year. Was there jockeying to get him in that room? Was somebody on the offensive side saying, hey, man, this kid's 6'6", he's an elite athlete. Give him to us at tight end. We can turn him into Gronk. What were those conversations like that led to inevitably what I think we can all say was the correct analysis and getting him to defensive end? And then you also, to your point, Bake, he had to be willing to put on 40 pounds, 50 pounds to play defensive end. You can't get pushed around, so he had to put on that weight too, because he didn't come in here looking like the way he left.
It's funny, Bo, because you remember having those conversations with Urban Meyer, and I don't know why. I just remember in my head when Ohio State said they were recruiting him and bringing him in for football. I swear I remember when they recruited him, they had recruited him as a defensive end, and because I remember thinking, man, this kid was 215 pounds. He's going to have to put on so much weight. And I knew he had the big frame. He was 6'6". And maybe like when they got here, that was a slow process to get him there. So they were thinking about other positions along the way. I just think you talk about that. It had to be so similar to the conversations about Cade Stover as well, as he bounced around. Yeah, from so many different positions. But just an incredible transformation to Sam Hubbard from a guy who was kind of an afterthought lacrosse player, as you mentioned, and then having such a productive NFL career.
I just pulled up his recruiting page from 24/7. So he's a 4-star recruit. He was labeled an athlete, which has never been more accurate. He was labeled an athlete because I don't even know if the recruit services knew what to do with him or how to use him. They just knew it was a ball of clay. Like, just get him in the mix. So he was 94 overall in the class. He was a number 10 athlete in the class. He was a number 4 Ohioan in the class. The football offers he had at the top of his list were, obviously, came to Ohio State. Luke Fickell and Kerry Combs were the top recruiters. Of course, Kerry was, because he was former Coleraine coach, and he had all those connections down in the Queen City. So Luke and Kerry were the recruiters. The other offers he had were Boston College, Illinois, Louisville, and Miami. So those were the other offers that were there from him. He came in the class of 2014. And now all of a sudden it's done. The run is done. He's retired at age 29, but an incredible legacy with the Cincinnati Bengals. And in terms of to be on a team that got to the Super Bowl, to have that play that he had in the wild card game, I mean, that's iconic stuff. To be able to get that done, the fumble in the jungle, something those are on T-shirts everywhere. And then your last play, it's melancholy because you have the PCL injury, but also wildly memorable because your last play as an NFL player is to catch a pass from Joe Burrow. And on top of that, now, if you're him, you can rehab from that injury, and you can do the Joe Thomas thing and now stop eating to maintain the 270 pounds. As a high school kid, he was 225. That's what his recruiting profile. He's 225, so he left Ohio State at 270. So that's
going to be walking around svelte.
Yeah, you can pull all that weight off, man.
I had a question. What did Joe Thomas do with all the pairs of pants?
No.
When he lost all that weight?
Good question. Good question.
Bo, speaking of guys putting on weight at Ohio State and how their nutrition program and their fitness program and weightlifting is so much, did you see the picture Devin Sanchez tweeted out? That he's 196 now. He's put on almost 20 pounds in just the few months he's been at Ohio State.
Body by Mick, bud. I mean, that used to be one of my favorite things when they would show like the picture of those kids when they walk in the door and then what they do after the first year, what they look like. It's a big part of it. But good to Sam. Congratulations. Certainly remembered here forever. Remembered with the Bengals forever as well. And now even more cap space for the Bengals to work with. Maybe they can pull this off and keep all three of them. It'd be wild to have that type of allocation in so few players. 2 minutes from now, LeBron James says, the idea of being the face of the NBA is not something someone should want because of the difficulty of it. Is it something that you even pursue, or is it something that just happens? We'll get into that, not just around the NBA, but around sports in general coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Guys, listen up. How many of you out there have been diagnosed with sleep apnea? Maybe your partner can't tolerate your snoring every night. You can't stand your CPAP machine. I totally get it. But the good news is there are alternatives to the CPAP machine. And Dr. Mark Levy is here to change your sleep and your life. Trust me, your spouse will thank you later. Dr. Mark Levy can customize an oral appliance that opens your airways, helps you breathe better, and of course, stops your snoring. That's the main point. It's quick and comfortable and an alternative to those bulky, loud CPAP machines you always hear about. For over 15 years, Dr. Mark Levy has led the way when it comes to treating snoring and sleep apnea, and now he's expanding his practice to better serve his patients with a brand new location in Marysville. I love Marysville. If you're snoring and not sleeping, you need to call Dr. Mark Levy's office today. Do not delay. Schedule your appointment today with Dr. Mark Levy at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. You can also visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com. And now, sleepbettermarysville.com too.
That's are us. When dreams sunk in, that's are us.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 380-225-BATH.
That's are us. When dreams sunk in, that's are us.
Hey there, friends. Bo Bishop here from my friends at High Bank Distillery Co., located right here in Columbus. Introducing their newest product, 614 Vodka, Ohio's house vodka. Perfect to make a drink at home or try when you're out at your favorite local restaurant. Learn more at 614vodka.com.
How high is your credit card rate? With rates as low as 9.90% APR, a Visa Platinum credit card from BMI Federal Credit Union is the perfect low-rate card for your wallet. Apply today at bmifcu.org/visa.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Our top men are working on everything except this show.
We have top men working on it right now. Who? Top men.
You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
We didn't get a chance to talk about this much last week when he originally said it. It was framed in the idea of there was a time where Anthony Edwards felt like he was going to have next, and he may still have next in terms of being the face of the league. So LeBron James was asked about being the face of the league, and he said, why do you want to be the face of the league when all people that cover and talk about our game on a day-to-day basis blank on everybody? To have that responsibility is just weird. It's weird energy. I think that I'm old enough, and Bake is old enough, and Reese might be just old enough to remember when there was no social media, where there wasn't the access to these guys' brains the way that there is. And one of the things that I think is really hard for fans to understand, but this is something that was said a couple of years ago, and I'm sure is still now true. There was an NBA coach who said, you cannot believe how many of my guys at halftime grab their phones and look at their mentions. And we say that from our perspective, we go, what, really? You're looking at the mentions in the halftime? Can you imagine an NHL player? And I'm sure this happens in there, and it happens in probably every league. I know that it happens in the NFL. You get into the locker room, you grab the phone, look at it. Like, there's an addiction to that. And the one thing that I think is probably a prevailing feeling for most is that with social media comes by and large, a negative tone. There's a negative tone to it. That we've never been angrier. There's never been a better way for you to unleash your anger. Kirk Glasberry, who he's a professor at the University of Texas, did a study on NBA Reddit, and it was the percentage of negative. I heard Bill Simmons talking about this, and it was a percentage of negative Reddit threads versus positive on NBA Reddit. What do you think? What do you guys think the number was, positive to negative?
20-80 positive, negative. 80-20 negative, positive.
80-20 negative, positive, yeah.
Yeah, 75-25, something like that.
You're both right there. It was 30% positive, 70% negative. Because if you have something, what we find is that if you are emotionally connected, the emotion that you most want to, it's just like when my kid says crash out or rage about, is negative. Negativity elicits more emotional response than positivity. And I think this comes back to LeBron from the standpoint of they are all giving. He has 50 million followers on his platforms. LeBron does. Even he would he's giving access to people just by reading it that otherwise you never would. In the old days, you never had to deal with it. But I would counter him in saying, and I think this point is true, that the folks who cover the league are largely wildly positive about it. Far more so than they would have been 30 years ago. I really think that's true, too. I mean, there used to be columnists in cities that would just bury people Just bury him. I mean, you watched Winning Time, Reese. Like, that all happened. Magic Johnson was booed in Los Angeles. He won the championship his first year, and he was booed in Los Angeles because they blamed him for Paul Westhead getting fired. He'd already been a champion.
It kind of goes back to the I think it was the Inquirer columnist in Philadelphia that evoked Embiid's, I think, dead brother.
Yeah.
And questioning his toughness and his legacy. And Embiid's like, I'm going to fight you, dude.
Yeah.
Like, it's, I wonder where the line, because I think of Draymond Green a lot when I think to the media coverage in the NBA, because he likes to say he's the new media. It's like, no, you're not. You're regular media. You're media.
Yeah.
You've just played the game before.
Yeah.
And it doesn't stop him from taking shots at people. No. And I wonder where you used to have columnists and reporters. Now you have bloggers, and now you have podcast hosts, and now you just have so much in that ecosystem that would be part of media.
What's one other thing, though, Reese? And this just buttresses your point. Former players.
Current players.
Now have podcasts. Current players with podcasts. Like, they're the one. It's funny. They do the thing that we all used to do. They can't wait to do a LeBron better than Kobe thing. Or LeBron Mike. They can't wait to do that.
Oh, they love talking
Gilbert
about
Arenas, all of those guys. They all do that.
The first thing I couldn't help thinking of last week when this came out was if LeBron was taking a shot at the inside the NBA guys. Because we know that they've been pretty hard on some of the new age of the NBA, and they say that they're, soft and weak, and they couldn't have been able to take the abuse that Shaq or Jordan did back in the day. And, Bo, you talk about a majority of the guys that cover the league are pretty positive about it, but that's the show that most people think of, I think of when they think of NBA coverage. So I wonder if there's some kind of undertone in all of this, taking a shot at Chuck and Shaq and those guys a little bit.
Maybe. There's some truth telling on that. That could be. The other thing you have to think about with LeBron is he's probably holds, like if you were to hand out a championship belt for athlete in our lifetime who has been the face of a sport the longest, I think the only one who could usurp LeBron James is Tiger Woods or Serena Williams. I think that's kind of it. I think everybody else has went. LeBron's been the face of the NBA since his first run in Cleveland.
22
he shared
years.
it with Kobe. Yeah, I mean, he shared it with Kobe in the late 2000s. And then he's kind of been the face of, I still think him and Steph are the face of the league.
Yeah, they're without.
Am I just old? I think they still are.
No, they're without peer.
Yeah.
Like, I think you have superstars, but they're not they're not to the level of a LeBron or a Steph, or even to your point on other sports of Serena or that Tiger ever was. Like, that just doesn't have.
Tiger's been the face of golf since 1997. He was offered $1 billion to do live. So, like, he's the Daenerys Targaryen. He's not a spoke on the wheel. He broke the wheel. He transcends that sport. Serena probably has a little bit of that. Tiger's the best example, though, I think, of face of the sport for as long as he's been the face of the sport. And there's really nobody, even when he's injured or not himself, he's still the one guy that's the draw.
Yeah, like when was the last time he was consistently competitive?
Oh, it's been a while. Yeah,
but
when did he win he won the Masters in, was it 18? 19 he won the Masters the last time? It's been a long time now. But I think other than that, it's LeBron. And I think in that sport, it's more critical than all the rest because the NFL can have 7 faces of the league. It can be Mahomes, it can be Lamar, it can be Josh, it can be Saquon. The NFL can have, and that's why they're so strong. They have 7 to 10 faces of the league. But the NBA, it's 5 guys on the court, and I think that's for baseball. It's probably Shohei. I think it's my guess. It's probably him. In hockey, I suppose it's McDavid, but that's not an ideal situation with the fact that he plays in the Midwest Mountain Time Zone and plays in as far an outpost as you're going to find in the league.
I wonder to LeBron's point, or to the point about LeBron, if in his position when he made those comments about why would anybody want to be the face of the league with all this criticism, he thought he was trying to protect guys like Anthony Edwards or John Morant or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, like if he was doing his best to shield them from increased criticism that comes with, is X player the next face of the league? And I wonder if that's where he felt, that it was his job to do that. And I thought it was interesting with the Anthony Edwards stuff, and you can add it to the John Morant stuff, but it's their behavior and their actions that have led to that criticism, or their inactions, I guess, in winning in the postseason.
Here's the other thing about it. It's a good point. Here's the other thing about it. Like, you don't get to say you're the face of the league. You become the face of the league, of a league. There isn't any, you don't say, well, now he's it. It just happens organically. Whatever sport it's going to be. I mean, you think about Sid. I mean, I said McDavid. Now that I think about it, it's probably still Sid. McDavid's the best player, but it's probably still Sid in terms of the most recognizable player in the sport. And he's played his entire career in Pittsburgh, and you don't hear anything about him off the ice at all. Nothing. Zero.
Yeah, and McDavid is there. I think it's hard for him to be the face of the league when he's in Edmonton, and they haven't really won anything. But Sid and Ovi, I think both of them kind of combined, especially with Ovi again now chasing down Gretzky. I think they still have a claim to that.
I think the more I think about it, I think it's probably still Sid. With McDavid, just needs that metric point of winning a cup. And then does he pull a Gretzky and force his way to another situation? There's been no inkling that he would want to do that, but that's probably the next thing. I do think in hoops it's the most important, though, because that's the difference. It's something that Pete Rozelle years ago in the NFL worked so hard to prevent, which was the NFL is all about is everything to the mean. Everybody has the same shot at it. Complete parity, salary cap, hard cap. Draft, worst teams get highest picks, all those things. What David Stern did with the NBA was sell personality. And he sold players more than teams. And it's nice if the player is on a team, but he doesn't have to be in a glamour market at all to be the face of the league. Just look at Chicago before Michael Jordan and after. It wasn't Chicago. It was Mike. It was Michael Jordan.
Man, it was so close to being Derrick Rose next.
I don't know if he could have been face of the league, but he was certainly that's probably the best example of what could have happened there had he stayed healthy, because there was also that time of the decision, Dwayne Wade taking visits to Chicago. LeBron James was kind of in the mix on Chicago as well. Hell, Kobe tried forcing his way to Chicago in the mid-2000s. People forget about that. Kobe tried forcing his way there. So, but it's not something that's given. It's something that just kind of happens organically. And I think that's something that league especially is going to have to do a lot of work on in trying to figure out who does have next, because LeBron is 40. He's still playing as a top 10 player in the league. That cannot just physically continue forever. He's the Tom Brady of the NBA, that he's still playing at this level this far in. Get your officially endorsed in 3 things on a First Friday up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
The sound of Paul Keels calling a Buckeye game is erotic. Oh, yes. Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Hair Volume is the best-selling hair tablet in the world and one of many award-winning natural hair products from New Nordic.
Common Man here for Universal Windows Direct. You know what's better than new windows? A new window from Universal Windows Direct that's on sale. It's the tax time sale. You save big while making your home comfortable and energy efficient. You buy 2 windows, you get 2 free. Plus, you pay no interest till 2030. Plus, you get an extra $500 off your home improvement project in March only. Schedule your free home estimate today, 614-502-5220, universalwindowsdirect.com. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, where every nail-biting over... Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio.
Right now at Verizon, you can get one line for less than you think. Just $50 per month when you bring your phone, which is less than you spend on Bella's Dog Walker and Glam Squad every week. Get one line on unlimited welcome for $50 per month with autopay plus taxes and fees. Visit your local Columbus Verizon store today. $15 monthly promo credits applied over 36 months with a new line on unlimited welcome. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G and 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Additional terms apply.
1-800-GOT-JUNK makes space for possibilities.
When our clean, shiny truck arrives, it's the sign of a new beginning, a clean start, a breath of fresh air.
All the animals start giggling, a rainbow appears, and music fills the air.
Your best friend calls with happy news. Every table has fresh flowers on it, and your nights are full of candlelight.
We bring the springtime.
All you have to do is point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK
or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
Looking to sell your home? Don't pay 6% commission. Call my guys at Sell for 1% Realtors. They're full service, not a do-it-yourself kind of thing. On average, customers save over $10,000. Give them a call, 614-451-6616. That's 451-6616.
Getting the cold shoulder? Call Care Heating and Cooling and we'll fix your furnace fast. Call 1-800-COOLING.
A Tim Hortons treat with Nutella is the perfect way to add a little joy to your day, whatever your day brings. Imagine reading your book with a smooth hazelnut mocha iced cap topped with Nutella, or tackling your to-do list with a delicious croissant filled with Nutella and whipped sweet cream. And when you're heading to the office, grab a hazelnut mocha iced coffee with cold foam, because there's nothing better than combining that irresistible Nutella taste with your favorite Tims. Treat yourself with the Nutella lineup, only at your neighborhood Tim Hortons. Limited time at participating U.S. restaurants. Naturally and artificially flavored.
If you miss a little, you'll miss a lot. Search for your favorite fan shows wherever you get your podcasts and subscribe. Every episode comes right to your phone absolutely free. Modern technology, it's a hell of a thing. Do it now. The Fan.
Do you realize making the minimum monthly payments on your credit cards, it'll take nearly 20 years to pay them off? What if I told you there's a way for you to get them all paid off in just a matter of weeks? Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. Imagine wiping out all of your credit cards. Here's where you go. AFLcash.com. That's AFLcash.com. Advantage First Lending is the easy button for tapping in to hundreds of thousands of dollars in your home equity. That's not the bank money, it's your money. Listen, your home, the value is way up. And now AFLcash.com has a super fast, hassle-free program that lets you turn that equity into cash. People who do this are living their best life, their credit card debt free, with cash left over for other stuff like home improvements, maybe a vacation. See how much money you can get now. Go to AFLcash.com or call 844-394-CASH. That's 844-394-CASH. Say goodbye to greedy credit card companies. That's AFLcash.com.
Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1209177. Subject to lender approval. NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
Want to know anything about the Fans contest, how to win, or what's up for grabs? Check out 971thefan.com. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
If you love a good pie analogy,
think of the cap as a pie. And once you take out one piece, there's less left for the next guy.
Then this is the radio show for you. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
This is a pretty strong and I think appropriate comment from Don Waddell on the Jackets' chemistry. Quote, if I rip a guy out of this locker room right now that's playing a role for us on this hockey club, I think that's pretty devastating to our team. I think it's the wrong message from my end to the fans, the coaches, and the players. Well said. Well said, sir. Love that. What do we have in the poll today, Reese?
Daily Fan Poll sponsored by Castor Connection asks, how far will the Ohio State women's basketball team go in the Big Ten tournament? So the Buckeyes are off until Friday night. They'll be playing the last quarterfinal game against either Michigan State or the winner of Wisconsin-Iowa, which will be later today on Peacock. First round starts on Wednesday. But for the Ohio State women's squad, the options for the Daily Fan Poll, sponsored by Castor Connection, are losing the quarterfinals, reach the semifinals, reach the finals, or win it all. 43% say the Buckeyes are going to reach the semifinals of the Big Ten women's basketball tournament. 23% say they're going to reach the finals. 22% say they're going to lose in the quarterfinals. And then 11% say they're winning it all.
What seed are they?
They are a 3 seed.
Okay, so they would play either USC or UCLA in that semifinal. That's
UCLA would be the semifinal matchup.
Okay, all right. So that's where you run into the issues there. And then we had one as well. What do you have on that one?
Yeah, 971 BFS. We asked earlier in the show if you stayed awake for the entire Ohio State-Nebraska ball game last night. 60% say no, they did not stay up to watch the entire thing. 40% said yes. We got about 115 votes on this one, and several others in the YouTube chat are heroes because they're claiming to have stayed up for the whole thing and just mainlined coffee this morning, Baker being one of them.
Yeah.
I did not.
Late. I didn't either. I watched it this morning on the DVR and did it that way. That's how I went through it. All right, time for your officially endorsed. Hit it.
Bishop and Friends present First Friday, officially endorsed, because everyone deserves 2 Fridays.
You drink for the wrong reasons. My generation, we drink because it's good, because it feels better than unbuttoning your collar, because we deserve it. We drink because it's what men do.
All right, I normally don't go down this road, but I saw yesterday the Ohio Liquor boys had a shock drop, a little bit of a shock release, and one of the bourbons that was in that release is my all-time favorite, and it is our good friend Elmer T. Lee. It's my all-time number one. I like this 3 different ways. Well, I like it a lot of different ways, but the 3 that I'll focus on are, other than the obvious, let's just do 2 of them. Number 1, I like it on a big rock with a couple of shakes of black walnut bitters. That is a lovely way to take it in the winter and the fall months and in the early spring months. You're looking for a little bit of a warm up at night. The other way that's really good is with a twist of lemon. That is a summer way to do it, and in that instance, I use it on the rocks with a twist of lemon. That is a delicious way to do it, where it almost feels like a little bit like an iced tea. So those are the 2 ways I enjoy it, but it is in that shock drop. My guess is it was all gobbled up relatively quickly, but if there is any of it out there, scoop it up quickly for those of you who are not in the know, because it is an all-time bottle of bourbon, my friends. Time for 3 things on a First Friday. Hit it, guys.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3 things.
All right, number 1 for me. I said yesterday, I don't know, I guess I just annoyance with the streamers and all of that why doesn't one of them, especially like in men's basketball, why doesn't one of them be the first to do no commercials and just treat it like soccer? And rather than having commercials, just pay or get sponsors to sponsor certain portions of the broadcast. I had so many people reach out to me about this idea. This kind of overwhelming, which is cool. I think I'm onto something here. I'm watching this game last night, and I'm seeing them go to break, and I'm like, don't go to break. Just stay and just do the commercial the way they do with soccer, and just have it as a banner, have the guy read it, take it while the game is still going on, and get these games done quicker. I think that's, as we continue to evolve forward, everybody trying to figure this out, potentially we're onto something here with this idea of, especially in the non-revenue sports, on the streaming services, no commercial streaming sports. I think people pay a premium for it.
I forgot, as we talked about this yesterday, that NBA League Pass does that, where you don't get commercials. When they go to break, you get like the in-arena entertainment. And so
that's right. Yeah.
It marries perfectly with my just bring out Red Panda. Or go to another, like everywhere Red Panda goes, tape Red Panda's performance, and that is your commercial offering for those games.
MLB does that as well. They just like have a graphic that they put up and generic like crowd noise in the background.
I'm saying don't even have, those are still commercial breaks. I'm saying no commercial breaks. Just make them a minute.
New content.
Keep them going. Yeah.
But just real quick, my first thing was the Cavs play the Heat tonight at 7 o'clock. It's on ESPN. Cleveland looks for its 12th straight win. The Cavs can clinch a playoff spot with a win tonight in Cleveland.
My first thing, this coming in from our buddy Uncle Dom in the middle of the night, so right after the Buckeye basketball game ended. The Buckeye Crews just announced that they raised a record $4.5 million on this year's cruise. That's over $44 million raised in 18 cruises. Congratulations to everyone involved with putting that on.
Yeah, Chris, Lisa, everybody with the cruise, everybody who goes every year, those of you who get on that boat and donate the way that you do. I've done it once. It was one of the more moving experiences of my life. Many places have tried it. No one has been able to do it quite like you can do it here at Ohio State. And it's just that collective warmth of the big Buckeye Nation. Number 2 for me, interesting development on the house side of things. So I've noticed that Beamsy looks like he's grown a little bit. So I just started to do a little social experiment because he's a rule follower. And we always say you got to clean your plate. If I just put more food on his plate, will he eat it? And the answer to that is yes. So I'm just loading up the plate, and the little dude is just crushing it. And I think it's all working. But he's such a rule follower that he just eats whatever's on his plate. So I'm just adding more to it. And he hasn't even said anything yet. He hasn't even noticed that he's eating more. Like, this is a win. He needs to put on a little weight, so this is a win for him.
It's a good job out of you being his hydration and calorie manager.
I'm handling things, man.
As well as
Raising
father.
men.
So the Big Ten women's basketball tournament, I said, starts today in Indianapolis. You've got the Big Ten men's tournament starting next Wednesday. It does look right now, Ohio State's that 10 seed. They take on the 15-seeded USC Trojans in their Wednesday matchup. This from Adam Jardy. After that Ohio State win against Nebraska last night, in the 126-year history of the Buckeye basketball program, it's never won a game while allowing 100-plus points. Never. Opponents were 20-0 against the Buckeyes when scoring in triple digits. That 116-114 final, the most points scored ever in the history of Value City Arena, and the 116 points, the second most for Ohio State all time.
Second thing for me, we've touched on this a little bit today, and Reese, you talked about the Ohio State women playing at 9 o'clock on Friday to open up the Big Ten women's tournament. Congratulations to Cody McMahon and Jelani Cambridge. Cody McMahon, first team, both the coaches and the media. Jelani, first team in the coaches, second in the media. Jelani, also the freshman of the year. Taylor Theory, she made the all-defensive team and was honorable mention all Big Ten.
Give them their roses, their flowers, all of it. But why do we have 10 people on the first team?
Yeah, I saw that. It's pretty bad.
Stop. Just 5. Just 5. That's it. It's first team. It's 5. Do 5. Finally, number 3 for me, Buddy Garrity got fat. I don't know how it happened. I don't know if just the winter or what.
Did you keep putting food on his plate?
Just kept eating it.
I guess. I don't know how it happened. I took him for a walk. I've been walking him for the last couple of weeks, getting back into walking him morning and night again after taking the month of February kind of off. My guy was like winded at the walk, and then I like grabbed his ribs. I'm like, dude, what happened? Like, whoa. We got some LBs we got to drop, my friend.
Dogs get chunky in the winter.
Yeah.
Don't feel too bad about it. Speaking of food, last night apparently Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward, and Abdul Carter had dinner with the Browns at a Cleveland steakhouse. Is their cut ordered something a red flag or a point to draft the individual player? Like, say, Abdul Carter just gets like a flank steak or something, or maybe he gets the Atlantic salmon. You're like, whoa, whoa.
I think as long as it's not medium. As long as it's not medium or medium well on the
or
steak,
the cook,
I think it's fine. As long as it's medium rare or something in that world, I'm fine with it.
Final thing for me, Rothman and Ice coming up next. Adam Schefter, I'm sure they'll talk to him about Sam Hubbard. Also a little hockey and hounds with Damon Severson.
You got that to look forward to, which is nice. It's a first Friday. Make sure you act accordingly. We're back tomorrow. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Matty Ice has a large tattoo on his calf of LeBron eating a lion. I have nothing else to say. Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
The Fan.
Welcome to Nada Yada Island.
Next on Metro's Nada Yada Island podcast.
I almost fainted when the 4 new bombshells arrived. 4 free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G phones at Metro.
No way.
And finding out the 4th line is free. Oh, things got heated.
That's wild. Join Metro and get 4 free Samsung 5G phones. Only at Metro.
Plus tax. Bring 4 numbers and an ID and sign up for any Metro Flex plan. Not available currently at T-Mobile or have been with Metro in the past 180 days.
Do your good-looking shoes hurt and you don't want to wear ugly shoes? At the Good Feet store, we can help you wear your heels, boots, and dress shoes again in comfort. Trade in your bad feet for good feet at the Good Feet store.
This is a Craver service announcement. Stop what you're doing and get 10 cheese sliders for a new low price of just $7.99. Your choice of melty American, spicy jalapeno, or cheddar cheese. Only $7.99 for 10 cheese sliders. White Castle. Follow your crave.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Congratulations, you're having a little girl.
At that moment, everything changed. Our hopes and dreams for ourselves were instantly replaced by our hopes and dreams for her. We got life insurance policies from Shelter Insurance, so that regardless of what life throws at us, we'll still be able to provide the world to her.
Visit shelterinsurance.com to find an agent to help you pick a policy that's right for you. Shelter Life Insurance Company, Columbia, Missouri.
New treatments for joint pain are here. By now you've heard about regenerative medicine.
If you're wondering if you're a good candidate, answer these questions. First, does chronic pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, or other joints keep you from doing the things you enjoy? Golfing, jogging, time with the family. Does it hurt doing the things you need to do, like getting out of bed, sleeping, working, and walking? And finally, do you want to avoid surgery and all of the pain, long recovery, and uncertainty that comes with it? If you answered yes to any of those, you need to call QC Kinetics now. Learn about exciting advancements in regenerative treatments that can give you long-lasting pain relief with no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. Get your free consultation today. Call QC Kinetics. That's QC Kinetics. Here's the phone number.
Call now, 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. QC Kinetics, 380-208-4544.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Guys, listen up. How many of you out there have been diagnosed with sleep apnea? Maybe your partner can't tolerate your snoring every night. You can't stand your CPAP machine. I totally get it. But the good news is there are alternatives to the CPAP machine. And Dr. Mark Levy is here to change your sleep and your life. Trust me, your spouse will thank you later. Dr. Mark Levy can customize an oral appliance that opens your airways, helps you breathe better, and of course, stops your snoring. That's the main point. It's quick and comfortable and an alternative to those bulky, loud CPAP machines you always hear about. For over 15 years, Dr. Mark Levy has led the way when it comes to treating snoring and sleep apnea, and now he's expanding his practice to better serve his patients with a brand new location in Marysville. I love Marysville. If you're snoring and not sleeping, you need to call Dr. Mark Levy's office today. Do not delay. Schedule your appointment today with Dr. Mark Levy at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. You can also visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com. And now, sleepbettermarysville.com too.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card. So let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver Card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
As of 9 a.m. this morning, our EV trucking company is officially in operation.
Andrew's zero-emission trucks are driving the transportation category forward.
We'll make driving safer, easier, and less stressful. Now our technology needs to keep up with demand.
He needs to put pedal to the metal on hiring more software engineers.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and